Dr. Gunakar Bhatta appointed Planning Commission Vice Chair. Kiran Pandit named Central Bank Deputy Governor. Government reduces fuel allowance for civil servants and senior officials. Ministers and constitutional office holders' benefits remain unchanged. Bird flu outbreak in the country declining. Over 100,000 chickens culled in 4 districts since first detection. Iran rejects US peace plan, demands permanent end to conflict and sanctions relief. Trump warns of action if Iran deal deadline is not met. Oil prices swing as Trump sets deadline for Iran over Strait of Hormuz access. Shipping threats fuel global crude volatility. And Real Madrid host Bayern Munich in a blockbuster Champions League quarter-final first leg tonight. Arsenal face Sporting in Portugal. Good evening, I'm Shivani Thapa Bosnath and this is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News. We are coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepali time. Across the globe, it's 13:15 in London, 22:15 in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. The news now in detail. Dr. Gunakar Bhatta has been appointed as Vice Chair of the National Planning Commission following a cabinet decision. The Council of Ministers meeting held at the Prime Minister's office confirmed the appointment, according to Minister Pratibha Rawal. Kiran Pandit, Executive Director of Nepal Rashtra Bank, has been appointed as Deputy Governor. The government has approved a 50% customs duty concession on petrol, diesel, kerosene and infrastructure development tax. Authorities said fuel price adjustments are necessary due to international market conditions.
राष्ट्रिय आयोजना आयोगको उपाध्यक्ष पदमा डाक्टर गुणाकर भट्ट जिल्ला डोटीलाई नियुक्त गर्ने। त्यसैगरी नेपाल राष्ट्र बैंकको रिक्त दुई डेप्युटी गभर्नर पदमध्ये एकमा नेपाल राष्ट्र बैंकका कार्यकारी निर्देशक श्री किरण पण्डितलाई नियुक्त गर्ने। त्यसै गरिकन अर्थ मन्त्रालय अन्तर्गतकै अर्को पनि निर्णय भएको छ। पेट्रोल, डिजल र मट्टीतेलको पैठारीमा लाग्दै आएको भन्सार महसुल र पूर्वाधार विकास करमा 50% छुट प्रदान गर्ने। मूल्य समायोजनको बाध्यता छ। सरकारले यो तथ्य लुकाउँदैन, त्यसैले पेट्रोलियम पदार्थको मूल्य समायोजन गर्न व्यावहारिक देखिएको छ। पेट्रोलियम पदार्थ खपत नियन्त्रणका लागि आइतबार सार्वजनिक विदा शैक्षिक सत्र वैशाख 15 बाट सुरु हुने। त्यसैगरी थोक बिक्री नियन्त्रण र उच्च पदस्थको इन्धन कोटा कटौती गरिसकेको अवस्था छ। आवश्यक परे जोड बिजोड प्रणाली पनि सरकारले लागू गर्नेछ। सरकार जनतासँग वर्क फ्रम होम र विद्युतीय साधनको प्रयोग बढाउन आह्वान गर्दछ। त्यसैगरी दीर्घकालीन रूपमा विद्युतीय गाडी रूपान्तरणको कानुनी व्यवस्था अगाडि बढेको छ। यसका लागि इथानोल नीतिमा तयारी भइरहेको छ र ईभी पूर्वाधार विकासमा यसको विस्तारका लागि पनि सरकार प्रतिबद्ध छ। नेपाल सरकार सबैजनालाई भन्न चाहन्छ कि सरकार पारदर्शी छ, सत्य लुकाउँदैन, तर जनताको पीडा पनि बुझ्छ। ऊर्जा बचत गरौँ, संयमित बनौँ, सँगै उभियौँ।
The cabinet also accepted a $85 million concessional loan from the World Bank for the Greater Lumbini Area Development Project. It decided to relocate the Energy and Water Resources Research Centre to Godavari and shift the Water and Energy Commission to Pulchok. Resignations of officials from the Problematic Cooperatives Management Committee have also been accepted. The government approved land acquisition in Dhuni Besi and Uttar Gaya for infrastructure projects. It also permitted the use of 46.39 hectares of forest land and the felling of 18,898 trees for the Kathmandu-Tarai Madhis Expressway. President Ramchandra Paudel has reshuffled the order of precedence within the current Council of Ministers. The change was made on the recommendation of Prime Minister Balendra Shah, while the portfolios of ministers remain unchanged. Under the revised hierarchy, Finance Minister Dr. Swarnim Wagle is now second in seniority after the Prime Minister. He is followed by Foreign Minister Shishir Khanal and Energy Minister Biraj Bhakta Shrestha. Home Minister Sudan Gurung, who was previously ranked third, has now moved down in the order. In the 15-member cabinet, Labour Minister Deepak Kumar Shah is placed at the last position. Members of the House of Representatives have drawn the government's attention to a range of public concerns during today's session. Lawmakers urged the government to ensure easy availability of chemical fertilizers, arrange timely payments for sugarcane farmers, and strengthen preparedness to reduce potential loss of life and property from monsoon-related disasters. They also demanded the immediate introduction of a road safety bill and called for legal action against those involved in suppressing the recent Gen Z movement advocating good governance and anti-corruption measures. In today's meeting, the House also tabled bills on the establishment and operation of the National Forensic Science Laboratory, tourism and film sectors received from the National Assembly. The next sitting of the House of Representatives is scheduled for Wednesday, 1 p.m. Meanwhile, a newly elected Vice Chair of the National Assembly, Leela Bhandari, took an oath of office and secrecy before the National Assembly Chair Narayan Prasad Dahal today in the presence of President Ramchandra Paudel. The swearing-in ceremony was held in the office of the President in Sheetal Niwas. Vice President Ram Sahaya Prasad Yadav, Prime Minister Balendra Shah, House of Representatives Speaker Dol Prasad Aryal, Acting Chief Justice Sapana Pradhan Malla, lawmakers, chiefs of constitutional bodies and government senior officials were present on the occasion. Presidents of 4 thematic committees in the National Assembly have been elected unopposed. They were elected on the basis of political consensus. Pooja Chaudhary has been elected President of the Public Policy and Delegated Legislation Committee, Jayanti Devi Rai as President of the Federalism Enabling and National Concerns Committee, Krishna Prasad Paudel as President of the Economic Affairs and Good Governance Committee, and Krishna Bahadur Rokaya as President of the Committee for Legislation Management, according to the National Assembly Secretary Tul Bahadur Kodel. Chaudhary's candidacy was proposed by Madan Kumari Shah Garima and seconded by Yuvraj Shah and Rukmini Koirala. Rai's candidacy was proposed by Geljan Sherpa and supported by Durga Kumari Gurum. Similarly, Paudel's candidacy was proposed by Narayan Datta Bhatta and supported by Jagat Timilsana, while Rokaya's candidacy was proposed by Anand Prasad Dhungana and seconded by Geeta Devkota. The posts had been lying vacant since March 4th. Lined up is a short break. Do stay with us for more news and updates coming up right after this short breather. You're with Primetime News here on NTV World. The government has reduced the fuel allowance provided to civil servants and high-ranking officials. The Ministry of Finance stated that the cut was made to control public expenditure and manage the fuel crisis. Secretaries and other senior-level officials will now receive only 70 litres of fuel per month, down from the previous 125 litres. Similarly, the government has significantly reduced the fuel quota for undersecretary level officials who will now receive only 50 litres instead of the earlier 100 litres. The ministry said the fuel benefits for ministers and constitutional office holders will remain unchanged.
अब पेट्रोलियम पदार्थको आपूर्तिमा केही असहजता हुन सक्ने र त्यसको मूल्य वृद्धि यो दुवै पक्षलाई मध्यनजर गरेर अर्थ मन्त्रालयले जुन कार्यसञ्चालन निर्देशिका मार्फत जुन एउटा निश्चित सीमा तोकिएको थियो कुन पदाधिकारीले कति इन्धन सुविधा पाउने भन्ने त्यसमा कार्य सञ्चालन निर्देशिका संशोधन गरेर त्यसमा केही कटौती भएको छ। त्यसले पक्कै पनि यो खर्च मितव्ययिता र मध्यपूर्वले सिर्जना गर्ने सङ्कटलाई चाहिँ केही समाधान गर्न केही सहयोग पुग्ने अपेक्षा छ।
Offices with up to 30 employees will now receive only 35 litres of petrol and 50 litres of diesel, compared to the earlier allocation of 75 litres and 100 litres respectively. The same limit will apply to offices with up to 50 employees. Additionally, for every extra 100 employees, the allocation will be 35 litres of petrol and 50 litres of diesel, almost half of the previous provision. Fuel allowance for two-wheelers has also been reduced to 8 litres per month, down from 12 litres earlier. According to Ministry of Finance spokesperson Tonka Prasad Pandey, the decision was made due to rising international petroleum prices, supply imbalance, and lower than expected revenue collection in the current fiscal year. The bird flu outbreak in Nepal is gradually coming under control, with the risk decreasing in recent days. Since the first week of Chaitra, a total of 113,000 chickens have been culled across 4 districts due to bird flu infection. The outbreak has been reported in 22 poultry farms across Morang, Dzapa, Sunsari and Chitwan, according to the Department of Livestock Services. The estimated loss is around 1 billion rupees. After bird flu was first detected on Chaitra 4th in a farm in Urlabari, Morang, authorities immediately imposed safety measures, including quarantining and culling infected farms, which has helped bring the situation under control. Experts say the disease is likely entering Nepal through open borders with India and migratory wild birds. The current strain is identified as highly pathogenic, H5N1. Vaccines are available in Nepal but are currently distributed only through the private sector. Poultry raised for short periods require 1 dose, while long-term poultry may need 2 to 3 doses, according to veterinarians. Although poultry insurance is not mandatory by policy, the government provides some 75% compensation of production cost for birds destroyed due to bird flu. Bird flu was first detected in Nepal in the year 2009. Nepal Trade Union Congress has expressed serious concern over the issue of abolishing trade unions mentioned in the government's governance reform agenda. At a press conference held in Kathmandu today, the Trade Union Congress stated that trade unions have played a crucial role in the country's transformation and said that their abolition would not be appropriate. It further said that since the Constitution guarantees workers the right to form and participate in trade unions, any attempt to ban or dissolve them would be a direct violation of fundamental rights, according to the Nepal Trade Union Congress President Yogendra Kumar Kuwar.
नेपालको संविधानको धारा 34 जसमा राइट टु अर्गनाइजिङ, कलेक्टिभ बार्गेनिङ र यो राइट टु फेयर वेज र कन्ट्रिब्युसन बेस्ड सोशल सेक्युरिटीलाई फन्डामेन्टल राइटको रूपमा रहेको छ। त्यसै गरिकन नेपालको श्रम ऐन, ट्रेड युनियन र अरू प्रचलित ऐनहरूले व्यवस्था गरे अनुसार नेपालका ट्रेड युनियनका गतिविधिहरू चलिरहेका छन्।
The Trade Union Congress has also demanded the immediate reversal of decisions restricting organizational freedom, abolishing the minimum wage board, and limiting government advertisements and publications to state-owned media only. A short break yet again. When we come back, we shall look into the international headliners. Do stay with us. Iran has rejected a U.S. proposed 15-point peace plan, calling instead for a permanent end to the conflict The official news agency IRNA reported on Monday. Iran delivered its response via Pakistan in a 10-point document, citing past experiences as the reason it would not accept a ceasefire. The response outlines Iran's demands, including ending regional conflicts, establishing safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz, reconstructing war-affected areas, and lifting international sanctions. IRNA claimed the text was presented following recent developments in Iran's western and central regions and the unsuccessful outcome of a U.S. helicopter operation, with U.S. President Donald Trump extending a previously set deadline again and adjusting earlier threats. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has said the military had war plans to destroy all bridges and power plants in Iran over a 4-hour period if his peace deal deadline is not met. Speaking in the Oval Office, Trump says a deal with Iran is irrelevant and the U.S. will leave when it is certain the regime cannot build a nuclear weapon for years.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. And it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen. We may even get involved with helping them rebuild their nation. And you know what? If that's the case, the last thing we want to do is start with power plants, which are among the most expensive things, and bridges.
Meanwhile, global oil prices have fluctuated ahead of a deadline set by U.S. President Donald Trump for Iran to open the crucial Strait of Hormuz shipping route. The price of global benchmark Brent crude rose above $111 a barrel in early trade on Tuesday before dropping to $109. On Monday, Trump threatened to take out Iran in one night if it failed to agree a deal with the U.S. by 8 p.m. Washington, D.C. time on Tuesday. Oil and gas shipments from the Middle East have been severely disrupted as Tehran threatens to attack vessels that try to use the strait in retaliation for U.S. and Israeli airstrikes since 28 February. India's economy is coming under pressure due to the Middle East conflict disrupting global oil markets. This has weakened the rupee, now at record lows and down nearly 10% against the dollar, with risk of further decline if the crisis continues. A weaker currency is raising import costs, hurting businesses, widening deficits and reducing foreign investment. Stock markets have fallen about 12% amid capital outflows. The government warns of rising inflation, slower growth, higher logistics costs and weaker remittances from the Gulf. GDP growth, once expected near 7%, could drop by up to 1 percentage point, potentially delaying India's rise to the world's fourth largest economy. Likewise, Sri Lanka has announced a record $320 million relief package for farmers, fishermen and the low-income households hit hardest by soaring energy costs due to the Middle East war. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake said the package, the biggest state handout ever, would help the most vulnerable in the island nation of 22 million. Cash grants would be paid directly into the accounts of thousands of fishermen and rice and tea farmers, he said. Those living below the poverty line, about 25% of the population, would get an additional $25 this month to celebrate the traditional Sinhala and Tamil New Year festivals and also have their electricity bills subsidized. Sri Lanka is still on an IMF bailout program that began in early 2023 when it secured a $2.9 billion loan spread over 4 years. Dissanayake said he was hopeful of drawing down the next tranche of about $700 million from the IMF by the end of next month, following the conclusion of a staff-level agreement with the Washington-based leader this week. South Korea, meanwhile, has unveiled 10 policy initiatives to reduce oil dependence amid rising Middle East tensions, with a strong focus on expanding renewable energy. The government aims to triple renewable capacity to 100 gigawatts by 2030, with offshore wind playing a central role. A new specialized installation vessel will support construction of a major wind farm in Sinan, South Jeolla province. To ease local resistance, authorities are introducing an income participation model, allowing residents to invest in projects and earn returns through schemes like the solar pension and grid income, potentially benefiting up to 10 million people. The plan also targets transport and heating, with a goal of 40% of new car sales being electric or hydrogen by 2030, and wider adoption of heat pumps. Daytime electricity rates will be lowered to align demand with solar power generation as part of broader efforts to transition toward a more sustainable energy system. One gunman has been killed and 2 others neutralized after a shooting near the Israeli consulate in Istanbul, according to the city's governor. 2 police officers have been injured and the attackers have been identified, according to the Turkey's interior minister. He says one suspect has ties to an organization that exploits religion. A large number of police are in the area, including armed plainclothes officers and ambulance crews. The consulate is in the north of Istanbul, Turkey's largest city, and comes amid heightened tensions around the US-Israeli war against Iran. We shall continue looking into international updates when we return from this short break. The Artemis 2 astronauts are bound for Earth after conducting a historic lunar flyby and witnessing a total solar eclipse from their spacecraft. On Monday, the Artemis 2 crew of NASA astronauts Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover and Christina Koch, along with CSA astronaut Jeremy Hansen, set the record for the farthest distance from Earth traveled by a human mission, surpassing the Apollo 13 record of 248,655 miles set in the year 1970. Commander Reid Wiseman says the Orion spacecraft crew saw sights that no human has ever seen, while pilot Victor Glover says there are no adjectives to describe what they observed. The astronauts lost connection with NASA while behind the moon. The outage was expected and lasted around 40 minutes. Cuba's once dominant sugar industry has collapsed from being the world's largest exporter in 1989 to a net importer, underscoring deep structural strains in the island's economy. At its peak, Cuba produced more than 6 million tons of sugar annually, supporting a wide industrial ecosystem from rum and biotechnology to animal feed and packaging, while also generating electricity through bagasse. But falling global prices, high production costs and inefficiencies triggered a steep decline in the 1990s. By 2002, the government shut down 71 of more than 150 sugar mills, a move that displaced workers, idled farmland and disrupted rural economies. Production has since plunged to below 200,000 tons in 2025, far short of the country's annual consumption of around 700,000 tons. Cuba now imports sugar from multiple countries to bridge the gap, adding pressure to its foreign exchange reserves. Authorities are now attempting a revival, A new proposal by the National Innovation Council aims to boost output and expand value-added byproducts to generate export revenue and support economic recovery. Migrating storks have made a seasonal stopover in the Amik Plain in the Raihanli district as part of their long-distance journey along key migratory routes between Africa and the Middle East and Europe. Recent rainfall has transformed sections of the plain into temporary wetlands, creating favorable ecological conditions for the birds. The newly formed water bodies have boosted the availability of food sources such as insects, amphibians, and small aquatic life, making the area an ideal resting and feeding ground. Flocks of storks were seen landing across the wetlands, taking advantage of the improved habitat to recover from extended flights. Ornithologists note that such stopover sites are critical for migratory species, allowing them to conserve energy and maintain survival rates during long journeys. The Amik Plain has historically served as an important ecological corridor, though changes in land use and water management have reduced permanent wetland areas in recent decades. Let us switch to sports now. In the sporting headliner, in the UEFA Champions League quarter-final first leg, Real Madrid will face Bayern Munich tonight at the Santiago Bernabeu. The match will kick off at 12:45 a.m. Nepali time. In recent history, the two European giants have met 6 times in the knockout stages over the last 14 seasons, with Real Madrid winning 4 encounters and Bayern Munich winning 2. In another match tonight, Arsenal will take on Sporting in Portugal, with kickoff also scheduled for 12:45 a.m. Nepali time. Manchester United defender Harry Maguire has signed a new contract to extend his stay until 2027 with the option for a further year, the Premier League club said on Tuesday. The 33-year-old England international has made 266 appearances since joining United in 2019 for £80 million. Then a record fee for a centre-back, helping them win the FA Cup and League Cup. Maguire has re-established himself in the team under interim manager Michael Carrick after a difficult period in which he lost the captaincy and his regular starting place, helping them climb to 3rd in the league table. Maguire had previously been the club captain before he was stripped of that responsibility by Erik ten Hag. This season, he has featured in 20 games across all competitions for Man United, playing a major role under manager Michael Carrick. And before wrapping up, here's a look into the top stories one more time. Dr. Gunakar Bhatta appointed Planning Commission Vice Chair. Priyan Pandit named Central Bank Deputy Governor. Government reduces fuel allowance for civil servants and senior officials. Ministers and constitutional office holders' benefits remain unchanged. Bird flu outbreak in the country declining. Over 100,000 chickens culled in 4 districts since first detection. Iran rejects US peace plan, demands permanent end to conflict and sanctions relief. Trump warns of military strike plans if Iran deal deadline is not met. Oil prices swing as Trump sets deadline for Iran over Strait of Hormuz access. Iran tensions and shipping threats, crude volatility. And Real Madrid host Bayern Munich in a blockbuster Champions League quarter-final first leg tonight. That's it from Primetime News. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepali Standard Time. Do join us through our social media handles and yes, get the latest update through our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Shivani Thapa Bosnell. Thank you for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by.
Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Everest, I would say, is high, but it's easier to climb than Makalu. Makalu is a little bit technical. Kanchenjunga is very high. It's technical and it's isolated. Everest, you get internet on base camp all the time. Camp 2 is quite big. Camp 2, you get internet again. Now people even have internet on Camp 4. So I would say Everest is easier, it's higher, difficult for sure, but Makalu and Kanchenjunga are less climbed and they are definitely harder. Kanchenjunga was very hard. They have different challenges, but I think K2 is definitely more technical, more harder. So K2 has different challenges, but both mountains have different challenges. If I have to compare the two, K2 is more. I'm planning to climb Shishapangma in autumn because China sometimes doesn't give permits out. So it's better to climb when the permits are being given. and I'm planning to climb Dhaulagiri next year in spring. I always take one Sherpa, and I climbed in Nepal mostly with Imagine Nepal, one peak with 7 summits. I always go with one Sherpa because I think it's safer. I mean, when I send mostly, I just keep going. I don't need anybody, but if any emergency happens, then it's better to have a guide with you, and a local guide who knows the mountain. I'm strong enough. Sometimes I'm just going by myself. I do need oxygen, so they carry it. But I am a mother of 2 small girls, so I will not climb without the help of Sherpa. It's something usually mothers, like I haven't seen any young mothers on the mountain, so it's not, because it's not easy to leave your young kids. Anything can happen if you die, then who's going to look after the kids. But I have some sort of confidence. Maybe people will not agree, but I know I will come back down for my young girls. And usually people say, how can you leave your young girls behind? But when I'm on the mountain, I have a difficult moment. I think about my daughters, that my daughters need me, so I need to go back no matter what. So I put extra effort. I'm more focused just because I know I have 2 daughters home. So they've been my strength, not my weakness. I think collaboration is very important. Like you said, Pakistan and Nepal has most number of 8,000 meter peaks. We can learn a lot from Nepal when it comes to tourism, because we are very behind. Your economy, you get in your GDP, most of the revenue comes from tourism. And we have beautiful mountains like Nepal, but we have very minimal revenue that comes from tourism. So we can learn definitely from Nepal, and the process is like everything. When we get to Nepal, to when we get to base camp, to summit, back, and then out of the country, it's like I love the process in Nepal. We are very far behind, and but we have tourism potential. So I think we can collaborate in that sense, where we can learn from Nepal experience. I don't see many Nepalis in Pakistan, so I mean we should promote tourism of Nepalis also, and Pakistanis coming also to each other's country. There's definitely room for improvement when it comes to collaboration between the 2 countries, and I know we love Nepali and Nepali also love us, so yeah, we need to make use of that. I think first time the process of coming in, because in Pakistan it was hard. Now it's improving. As soon as we come in, it was easy. People are really nice. I think most Nepali I met are nice, friendly. They know how to communicate, and I think that was the best part, the friendliness of the Nepali people and the kindness. Hardship for me personally is being away from family. So Kanchenjunga, for example, I said is isolated. It's very far from connectivity. So not being able to speak to the family, for example, was the hard. I mean, nothing that I had no difficulty from Nepal itself or the people from Nepal, but just being away from family and emotional difficulty.
Experience has always been good. Nepali, if I say Nepali, I would say धेरै राम्रो छ. मलाई नेपालको tourism मेरो experience धेरै मन पर्छ, खुसी लाग्छ नेपालमा. यस्तो घर जस्तो vibe हो. I've loved Nepal. This country has accepted me a lot, and it's a pleasure for me to be here always. If we talk about Nepal, I think it's more commercial, and I think the tourism in Nepal is very fast in Pakistan, but now eventually in Pakistan it's growing as well. But if I compare Karakoram or Himalayas, Karakoram are more steeper and more difficult, more technical to climb, and the specific region and the moving glaciers and everything that make them more difficult, especially the change of weather. So I believe that the Karakorams are more difficult to climb. I've seen a lot of Sherpas in Nepal, in Pakistan, who come to climb a lot of mountains. Mero sabai sathihharu Nepalko, every season they come to K2 and Nanga Parbat and Rock Peak to climb that mountain, and they are one of the elite climbers as well. So, in Pakistan there is much respect to the Sherpas. इन पाकिस्तान यस्तो हो क्या शेर्पाहरू सबै धेरै मनपर्छ पाकिस्तानमा यो जो सेम घर जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई त 3वटा कन्ट्री त मनपर्छ तिब्बतमा अलिकति गाह्रो छ यसको पर्मिटको भिजाको अलिकति गाह्रो छ अनि नेपालमा त इजी पाकिस्तानमा इजी हो मलाई त राम्रो लाग्छ इट्स मोर लाइक Nepal or Pakistan friendship expedition, something like that. And I think it's a great idea. It should be initiated. And we are up, me, Sarvaz, Naila, we are one of the Pakistani climbers. And yes, of course, in Nepal there are a lot of climbers as well. So we can combine an expedition. We can launch it to Everest or K2, whatever it feels like.
I climb Nanga Parvat solo, also Broad Peaks. Then K2, I have one Pakistani climbing partner. Sherpa in last one day, just and Camp 4 to Camp 4, I use Sherpa. जिस कंपनी में मैं आया था उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं आप अकेले क्लाइंब कर सकते हैं लेकिन विंड बहुत ज़्यादा है लेकिन आपको शेरपा लेके जाना पड़ेगा फिर आखिरी दिन वो शेरपा साथ दिया तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो शेरपा के ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया शेरपा ने भी विंड भी बहुत ज़्यादा था तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह समिट हो गया उस वजह से इस माउंटेन इज़ नॉट डिफरेंट मुश्किल वो भी है मुश्किल ये भी है यहाँ पे लोग कहते हैं कि माउंट एवरेस्ट बहुत आसान है लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है यहाँ के जो लोग हैं उन लोगों ने काम किया है इस वजह से यहाँ पे आसान है अदरवाइज़ आप ख़ुद से जिस तरीके से हमने क्लाइंबिंग की यहाँ पे ख़ुद से अगर क्लाइंबिंग करें आप अपना जूता खुद पहने अपने लिए पानी खुद बनाएं अपने लिए रूट खुद बनाएं तो ये बहुत आसान काम नहीं है क्योंकि मैंने देखा है एवरेस्ट के अंदर एवरेस्ट का कैंप 4 तक बेस कैंप से कैंप 4 से समिट इतना ही डिस्टेंस बराबर है तो डेड जोन के अंदर आप 6-7 घंटा 12 घंटा आप रहते हैं आसान नहीं है तो हर पहाड़ का अपना एक खेल है जैसा K2 है K2 के ऊपर एवलांच वगैरह होते हैं आइस फॉल होता है रॉक गिरता है यहाँ पे ये नहीं होता लेकिन उसके बदले में फिर इसकी हाई बहुत ज़्यादा हाई है और लंबा बहुत ज़्यादा है तो इंसान है बहरहाल वो क्या कहते हैं कि तकलीफ़ होती है हर जगह पे हर पहाड़ का अपनी एक तकलीफ़ है तो बहरहाल ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस था मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा यहाँ पे नेपाल में आके क्योंकि यहाँ पे जिस तरीके से लोग काम करते हैं इवेंट बेस कैंप से लेके टॉप तक जो लोग काम करते हैं अगर इस तरीके से अगर हम कोशिश करें पाकिस्तान के अंदर अगर हमारे जो क्लाइंट्स हैं इंटरनेशनल लेवल के जो क्लाइंट्स आते हैं उनके लिए इस तरीके से प्रोफेशनल तरीके से हम अगर खिदमत करें तो डेफिनेटली पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी बहुत ज़्यादा टूरिज़म आ सकता है क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे एक पाकिस्तान के अंदर एक चीज़ की कमी है कि प्रोफेशनल लोग बहुत कम हैं यानी जैसा माउंटेन गाइड्स है ही नहीं कोई मतलब सरबाज वगैरह जो अभी जो नए लड़का है ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अगर आने वाले 2-3 साल में ये एक आध होंगे तो हमें इनिशियल स्टेज पे यहाँ पे किसी तरीके से हमें कोई ऐसा एक्सेस मिल जाए कि हमें कोई ट्रेनिंग्स मिल जाए जिस तरीके से यहाँ पे लोग काम करते हैं इसी तरीके से अगर हम पाकिस्तान में भी थोड़ा सा अवेयरनेस के साथ अगर हमें 1 साल की अगर ट्रेनिंग दे दे तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे लोग भी बहुत ज़्यादा तगड़े हैं तो क्योंकि जो क्लाइंट जो है वो सर्टिफिकेशन देखता है तो वो देखता है कि कितना ट्रेंड है और कितना मरतबा इसके पास एक्सपीरियंस है तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह एक्सपीरियंस तो हम लोगों के पास भी बहुत है लेकिन सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं होने की वजह से मतलब फॉरेनर जो है जो हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम करता है तो ज़्यादातर पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी नेपाल से जो शेरपाज है उनको लेके आते हैं और उनके ऊपर ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट किया जाता है हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम किया जाता है
I like it when someone says you looks like a Sherpa or you say that some or says you are like a Sherpa you're like strong with Sherpa. I'm very happy because in this world in this our climbing community Sherpas like brand so I'm very happy when someone says you looks like Sherpa or you like Sherpa oh yeah in 2021 in COVID time you said oh Nepali or Pakistani passport I said oh come on man I'm from Pakistan so yeah my look is Tibetan and my mother from Skardu, and yeah, I climbed my first 8,000 is Nanga Parbat with Sherpas. Or maybe Imaji is the first K2 winter summiter. I'm lucky I climbed with Imaji my first 8,000. Yeah, even I start my climbing career with Sherpas. So till now, I think 90% of my 8,000ers are climbing career with Sherpas. So most of my climbs with Sherpas in Pakistan, Nepal, and in Tibet, China. Like Tikcha, yeah, like this, yeah. Yeah, I feel when I come to Nepal, I feel like my second home, to be honest. And all Sherpas, even 80% of Sherpas, they know me. They know me. And I have a good relation with Sherpas. They respect. I think who are living in the mountains, almost same culture, same honesty, and yeah. Little bit food is a little bit different, but yeah. I think who are living on the mountains, connect with nature. So both are same, but so we need to extend our seasons. Like autumn, we have good autumn and spring also, but we have no qualified climbers, guides. So we need to work on this, and then we. Yes, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, because when I start my climbing career in 2016-17 and I climbed my first 8,000er and Nanga Parbat, that time I announced Mission Summit 14 without oxygen. But later on Annapurna, Kanchenjunga and Everest, the last part, I feel the weather was very bad and strong winds. I use oxygen. So I repeat this year these three peaks like K2 in last year, Annapurna and Kanchenjunga this season. So I'm very happy. This is the big, I think, in adventure tourism, like in climbing. You can say it's a FIFA World Cup, like when you are climbing without oxygen, without Sherpa. But we help. We without Sherpa's help, you can say without Sherpa. So without oxygen, I complete my Mission Summit 14. And become first Pakistani. This is not for me or not my family. It's this record for whole Pakistan. So I'm feeling very proud, to be honest. After 8 years, I complete my big dream. I think this is sometime when I remember my all past and my climbing career. I feel very different because I came as a kitchen boy, as a porter. I worked as a kitchen boy 6-7 years when I was in college. So after 8 years, when I complete my Mission Summit 14, it looks like a dream. It looks like of course different experience because it's involved weather, it's terrain, But it's most difficult is of course Kanchenjunga and Annapurna here in Nepal, in Pakistan K2 and Nanga Parbat. So every peak have different terrain, different hardness, or it's difficult level is. Manaslu is like I think easiest mountain in Mission Summit 14, like in Pakistan G2 and Manaslu in Nepal is easiest. Sometimes it's like 2 years, 3 years ago, it's the BKO launch cam and our team 3 Sherpas injured. Sometimes it's mountain is mountain. We can't fight against the nature like sometimes happen. Every mountain is like a difficult level is different, but sometimes easy. You can say this is easy, but it's like remember in Shishapama last year in 2023, big accident there, and Gina from US and one of the best climber in Nepal, we lost. Sometimes it's happened like this. If you have manpower, Yeah, Annapurna first. Between Chem 2 and Chem 3, you can't understand what happened. When you are climbing between Chem 2 and Chem 3, sometimes your breath level is like, I can't explain because I climbed 2 times, so I feel inside. So I climbed 3 times K2, but I think in Pakistan we have very strong climbers, but like trainings, even here in Nepal, I think 3-4 big like NNMGA, IFMGA, like this institute, but in Pakistan till now, single person we have not certified, IFMGA certified. But I think in Nepal, 80 plus IFMGA guides. So we need collaboration with Nepal or like Norway. So we need to establish some good institutes, schools, training schools. Then hopefully we have in future we improve in climbing and in tourism department. Nepal is like really they make good rules and regulations for tourists. What you need, is freedom. Everything is available. Yeah, every year more people. I saw more climbers visiting Nepal, and more ability like IFMGA guides. More they add every year like 5-6. So this is a good sign for Nepal to boost adventure tourism in Nepal. In starting days, I faced very difficult because I have no sponsors. But Migmaji is like my brother. He helped me a lot, and yes, if I'm here this time in Nepal, and I do because of him. He's helped like his brother. And Alhamdulillah, I hard worker, and God give me a opportunity and give me success one by one, and now I am here. And after my 6th peak, I got first sponsor, local sponsor from Pakistan. Then till now I have because before 6th I visited 2 times in Nepal, once Manasu, once Lhotse. So that time Migmaji gave me an opportunity to come to Nepal and climb with my company, and I already 2 trainings from here, me and Abdul Joshi and Suhail from Pakistan. So in future, yes. But now I am getting old, so my plan is like this. I want to introduce IFMGA in Pakistan, the most important thing. We have no single one, IFMGA certified single one. So we need to establish some schools, some training centers. And I work with as a guide. It's different question. I think so. I don't like even too much branding, but I work as a ground level to establish one school and more people to involve in climbing, because we have potential. We have 8,000ers or 6,000 and 7,000, even in Pakistan, unclimbed peaks also. So I want to try to establish one good school and my some yes, I have some. I already start my book. So we are thinking about also a documentary, good documentary, not like maybe 20% little bit up and down, but 80% I want natural to try natural, not like fake. Good friend, my partner, Saad Munawar, he's just 3 years before he climbed from north side, Everest. He's the first Pakistani to climb from north side. From north side. So he's a nice writer also. So we together.
So from
you know, when humans are approached and interfere in the nature, yeah, there was, but we need to clean, because you saw nowadays, last 3-4 years, climate change, like, you don't understand what happened on whole, but we have big glaciers. The most affected areas, I think, in Nepal and Pakistan, because we have big glaciers like Siachen, Himalaya here, Siachen, Baltoro, Biafo. So we need to protect also our glaciers.
Pakistani climbers today here, and this is also a shared heritage of Pakistan and Nepal, that out of 14 8,000ers, 13 of us, 13 we share between us. And K2 in Everest, you can see on the plaque that is also on the right on my wall, that we share this heritage. And recently I also congratulate Nepal for holding Sagarmatha Samvad, which highlighted that ecology and the mountains' fragile ecology is not a given, and we need to do something to protect it. And in doing so, I think we celebrate our climbers, and we also celebrate those who are preserving it and the geography of the region. Climbers, some of them are here, they can also join them, and then they can have a joint expedition both to K2 and Everest.
Votekosi and Trisuli river rafting. Rafting has lately been gaining popularity among tourists. The adventure sports, which previously was popular only among foreigners, is now drawing the local tourists as well. Trisuli and Votekosi rivers that are close to Kathmandu are two popular destinations for rafting in Bagmati province. Let us first explore Votekosi. Whitewater rafting at Votekosi river is included among the 10 best adventure destinations for rafting in the world. Votekosi, which is well facilitated with food and accommodation, can be a great destination for rafting and other adventure sports. Rafting at Trisuli river is popular among domestic tourists, as the location can be reached in an hour from Kathmandu. This is where most tourists go for rafting in Nepal. Rafting packages of Votekosi and Trisuli are appropriate for those who want to spend some good time for a few days.
Welcome to NTV World Insight. As legacy heavyweights face arrest, the Election Commission decides the fate of the Nepali Congress and a new political order charges ahead. Nepal is undergoing a massive paradigm shift. Is this the birth of true accountability or just a new era of political vendettas? To separate the noise from the reality, we are today joined by one of the sharpest analytical minds in Nepali politics, former minister, government spokesperson and scholar, Dr. Minender Rijal. Dr. Rijal, welcome to Insight.
Thank you very much for a very kind introduction.
It's been a dramatic months for Nepal.
Yes,
how does it feel to you? Let's start with where you were, how it felt during the Gen Z uprising and the March 5 elections, how you viewed all of it.
I mean, if you want to take me back to that particular day, right? 2 days before that, I gave an interview, a full-page interview, to one of the daily papers, and I strongly stood for against the government, and then opening the medium of expression. Social media is legitimate for everybody, and this is the technology we have today, and nobody can stop it. And that's freedom of expression was being curtailed. Back then, Prime Minister didn't like it. I was kind of truly surprised that a democratic government can say no to people's right to express their feelings, which is wrong. But I don't need to go back on that, because I mean, people have amply said how they felt about it, and the change that this ban on social media triggered. So I mean, the verdict is already out on that one. So I mean, let's not go back, but I do understand that there's enormous amount of frustration among young people. Those who are ventilating their frustration in the social media, were forced to come out on the street. Was sad. 76 people lost their lives on the first day of the arrest, and then it turned even more violent the following day. And as a nation, we paid a heavy price for that. Infrastructure is lost. One of the finest things architecturally or as a heritage, we've lost that. We've lost lives. Though I mean, the change that it triggered probably was something that was badly needed, and this happened.
The public have given mandate to a new emerging party. The party swept many constituencies. What would you say about NC's own result and your own result as well?
And I lost, I mean, almost 2 out of 3 people who voted for me in 2017 didn't vote for me this time. And this is not only me, across the board, throughout the country, except if you take Karnali province away and then the hills of Sudur Pasim. Rest of the country, you see the same story. I mean, people walking away from us in flocks, saying that we've seen enough of it. We don't need you. We want to change, and then they did it. I mean, so I mean, but at the same time, I mean, there's I don't know, a lot of your English audience probably would not be familiar with one of the rituals that we go through when somebody loses someone in the family. We bereave for like 45 days, right? And I was kind of saying, well, I completed what is needed to be done for 45 days. Performed my duties, and now back on track. So that's how I want to take it. But that's not a feeling of resentment. That's not a feeling of retreat. I'm even more committed today, committed to see that this nation moves forward, committed to help in any way that's possible to help people to realize the dream they have, and the reasons they calculated that they should vote for RSP. And in that sense, I have no resentment about it. I'm not retreating. There's a moment for us as Nepali Congress to reflect on it, to ponder on it, and a party that has been pivotal in Nepal's struggles in establishing democracy, restoring democracy, bringing peace to the country, getting a new constitution almost as consensually, right? And then honestly and not being able to perform up to the standards people expected. So this is a sea change. But in a democracy, when this happens, this looks like a huge rupture. I mean, seismic moment. In a way it is, but at the same time, that's precisely why we need democracy. People can just very silently, discreetly say no and vote for somebody who they like, a party they like, and can very silently register their grievances, which they did. Had we not lost so much money and so many lives, so much resources, so much of our heritage, if only the change had happened, that would have been enormously good. But I mean, of course, we paid a huge price for it. But let's hope, I mean, the ones who have gotten mandate today will make it worth.
I want to take reference to this statement that you expressed some time back. You said Nepal had seen a trend of transactional politics and coalition culture since 2074 BS, and the latest mandate had put a brake on it. Did legacy parties, despite existing frameworks designed for representation, fail to anticipate RSP's victory?
If I say no, then I probably would not be telling the right thing. But at the same time, if I do not admit we are complicit, not to recognize it, then again I'll be telling you a lie. We were very complicit. NC was quite complicit. Our leadership was quite complicit. And then again, I tell you this, I mean, as a candidate running for office, right? I lost by huge margin. And this is a moment of reckoning, but at the same time, going into it, I knew, I mean, looking at my constituency, UML had edge over me, but I mean, as the days passed by, I had reasons to believe that I was on top of the UML candidate. But I had started slowly realizing that RSP is on the surge. But didn't know, I mean, how far will they make it. But this has been a common experience of every candidate. I mean, we knew something wrong is happening. I'm not saying wrong for the country, wrong for Nepali Congress. I was seeing that my colleagues were losing. But to me, to recognize that I was also losing, it took a moment. But towards the end, I mean, like a week before, I could clearly see that, I mean, there's no energy there, there's no battery, I mean, that's charging my cadre. So they were with me. They didn't ditch me. Even the ones who voted for Bell, when they came out after voting, I could see they didn't vote for me, but they had no feeling of remorse. They had nothing against me, but they had very discreetly said no to me. No to me in the sense that I would have become part of the establishment that was there, which they were very unhappy about. And as you rightly pointed out, I mean, I've many times said politics had become transactional. That's not my own terminology. I borrow that from a book, a very famous book, Transaction Man. But the literature is on economic development, how financial world has made the entire thing very transactional, and this is precisely how Nepali politics can be described. And for last immediately after the promulgation of the constitution, the way it started governing, I mean, any coalition could just change any time. Anybody can run as an alliance for the election, and after the victory or loss can come back and then form government with anybody, any party, no matter what ideology is there. And once you are in the government, and then, I mean, you could easily see the hubris that was there with the ones who were running the country. And some of us, I mean, I guess when I talk about Nepali Congress, I would like to say that we are complicit. I'm repeating that phrase. Our leadership was too complicit. I mean, the reason I'm saying that is there was a feeling that as long as UML and we are together, we can run the government until the course, until the end of the parliamentary term, and even when we are up for renewal, we will be able to form a coalition alliance between two parties, and still win and still find a way back to our governance. And that complacency was there, and that killed us as a party, kill us. When I say that, I'm not saying that as a retreat. I mean, but I guess this moment had to come. I mean, in different note, I'm saying, had it not come, we probably would not have realized that Nepali Congress needs to change. Nepali Congress needs to find. I mean, I should say, reinvent itself, rediscover itself, and make Nepali Congress once again look like what Nepali Congress has always been, which it was not in the recent past.
As someone who's seen the insides of the institution, when you say the leadership was complacent, in the wake of Gen Z protest, the leadership did change. A special convention elected Gagan Thapa as the party president. But was it too little, too late?
My take is a little different. I mean, convention would have happened anyway. Right? Mr. Thapa was still General Secretary back then also. After special convention, there are, the legality of it, we have challenged it in the court. That's leaving that aside, I guess. This is not something dramatic or drastic as one would like to believe. The ones who voted him into the highest office of Nepali Congress, they probably would like to believe that this is the maximum that could have happened in Nepali Congress. But I guess we could not convince people. I mean, the slogan we had was Nepali Congress change, and now we can change the country. And probably people who voted for RSP in flux, what they were thinking was, I mean, if change is the order that you want to bring, I mean, we find that change ultimately in Berlin. So we go for the ultimate product, not halfway through. So they probably didn't stay halfway through. Compromise, because when they probably looked at Gagan Thapa, or when they saw us campaigning to make him Prime Minister of the country, what they thought probably was, no, still, I mean, he represents the part of the old legacy party also, part of Nepali Congress establishment also. Balansa does not have that. And then probably even the ones who are looking at the age of the candidate, they probably thought, I mean, this guy is almost 50, but the other one is 35. I'm better with 35 than with 49. So in that sense, when you say, I mean, change but a little late, that's not what it was. When we needed to change, I mean, of course, in that sense, yes, but that probably would not have sufficed to the electorate. So I mean, we have to recognize that. Otherwise, we again would not recognize what needs to be done. I mean, even if court decides in favor of Mr. Thapa, he has to reflect on what has happened. I mean, he cannot simply, I mean, if he cannot be back in the mood of victorious president of the party, because I mean, that's not the ultimate thing. I mean, that would have changed. Somebody would have become president of the party, but he's president of the party, had just become president of the party. Even if his side becomes legitimate, then he has 5 years with the party that he leads in the opposition, and with a situation where he will not be in the parliament after a long time, right? So in that sense, I guess, which side prevails? Our side prevails or Mr. Thapa's side prevails? That's not the most important thing. And I tell you very honestly, why would people of Nepal care about it? They probably are saying, damn care with who is the leader of Nepali Congress. This is what they have said it in the election also. So we have to recognize that. First, we have to mix, I mean, no matter who gets to lead Nepali Congress, in that sense, the popular word would be old guards or the young, not really young in the sense of people, the way they are referred to today, but I mean in Nepali Congress sense, young Turk, whoever gets to lead it, I mean, that's not the end of the story. Probably path forward starts from there. I hope if he gets legitimacy, he recognizes that, and if the old guards get the legitimacy, and they better realize it.
So you are open to accepting what the court has to say about it. What about other leaders in the party?
I would not vouch for anybody, but to me, unified Congress is more important. I mean, we ran as a unified party because I mean, if you go back to what we said, or go back to what Mr. Thapa said back then, I mean, I didn't care whether you were in favor of special convention or not. when tickets will be distributed, will be given to leaders from both sides. And then what I read into it was, he was basically saying that I'm going to unify the party. Even if I get legitimacy, I will not be very partisan. I will not be looking after the interests of only ones who voted me in. So that has to be the spirit. Has he done that after the verdict of the 2026 general election? My feeling, my take is, he has not. He has shirked. He should not be shirking. If he wants to reach out, he should be more forthcoming than staying within the cocoon that he has created around himself.
This week, a two-day meeting was held between Dewa faction and Koirala faction. The outgoing acting president said somewhere in the line that there were forces elements that strategically weakened Nepali Congress. And even Dr. Shekhar Koirala, I believe, said the same lines. Do you believe so?
This is not a moment to be defensive. This is a moment to reflect. And then if you want to blame anybody, there's enough to blame. And that's not going to help us. Let's recognize. All of us, almost all of us, not everyone. Some chose not to run. Others were denied the chance to run. Others still probably didn't make it because of whatever reason it was. But there is enough blame to go around. Let's not spend our time blaming each other. And then if we do that, we will be back in the same mold. Same mold meaning, if you go back to Nepali Congress of 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, or a year, what were we busy doing? We're actively campaigning for own ascendancy into the leadership of Nepali Congress. And I guess we were too busy with Nepali Congress internal politics than about country. We were the largest party in the government, but still we're busy in fighting. And people didn't like it, so let's recognize that. Even after this people have given us a clear verdict against us. So do we not recognize that this is not a time to blame one side or other? So what I say in the meeting that I participated yesterday was, if Mr. Thapa wins, it's for him to decide how he's going to take the party. If this side prevails in the court, then we have to go status quo ante, meaning then Gagan Thapa, Bishop Prakash Sharma will become General Secretary of the party, and let's take it from there. And if the court case is delayed, then we have to open room for negotiation. So it's not a question of who prevails in Nepali Congress. All of Nepali Congress should act together and do what it has done extremely well in the last 8 decades of existence, and start work from there. Be a good opposition, be a constructive opposition, be a very vocal opposition, be an opposition that's not very defensive, but it's not very resentful.
Nepali Congress is one of the widely celebrated oldest democratic parties of Nepal. How does the institution, as of this moment, look like?
For getting into the internal situation about Nepali Congress, let me dwell a bit about Nepal itself, right? Nepal's democracy. I guess the most important mandate people have given now is, democracy is well established. Now we'll vote for the ones who we feel will perform. We've seen you. Thank you. I think I should say this. I recognize this. RSP president has something very nice to say. We're very thankful to the old established political parties for bringing the nation to where we are today. We have a good constitution. That's going to stay there. And of course, and then let me move on to my own reflection. Yes, institutions are there, but inertia is also there. Institutions are there, but problem of coordination is there. We have, if we look at the achievements, not only politically, economically, also, we made tremendous achievements. But at the same time, in millions, people are leaving the country. In hundreds of thousands, people are leaving country. in search of employment, gainful employment, or for any opportunity every week. And these are young people. And so do not learn that we need to find a way so that the number of people, I mean, it's not going to stop immediately, but I mean, recedes, and slowly comes a time down, few years down the road, or maybe 10 years down the road, that nobody will leave the country in search of better opportunity. And this probably is what Nepali Congress should be thinking about. Nepali Congress should forget about who gets the master bedroom in the house, but think more about, I mean, how Nepali Congress becomes once again Nepali Congress that was once led by BP Koirala, or many of the exemplary leaders who navigated the most difficult times in the history of Nepal. People of Nepal and the current establishment, by that I mean RSP, has also acknowledged the contribution. So we say thank you for acknowledging, but we need to move beyond that. And when I look at the current Prime Minister, he was born few days after the restoration of democracy was done in 1990, right? So I mean, for him, democracy was there when he was born. So I mean, this is a democratic generation that has no memory of how difficult the struggle was. And they don't need to. And if they have to go back and go through the same struggle again, then what good did we do in the past? I mean, why should they be thankful to us? So we should take pride in the fact that democracy is there. We should take pride in the fact that our constitution is there. We should take pride in the fact that Nepali Congress was led the nation all along last 8 decades to bring the country to where it is. But from here onwards, people judge political parties based on their performance. And if there is a gap in the performance, and if they feel that we are too complacent about performing, they will simply walk away from us. If we do well, and then if we make Nepali Congress again a formidable political party, they will come back to us. So I mean, it's not a question of thinking about or tricking them into coming back, but I mean, it's, putting our acts together so that they will come to us naturally.
Do you think NC has been, after the Gen Z uprising, of course, more open to youth leaders, youth voices?
Yes and no, both. Yes, meaning had we been very open, then probably we could have very easily managed the transition within NC, which we did not. So in that sense, no, we have not been. But at the same time, being young only is not going to solve the problem that we face today. By that, I'm not saying that old people will have to be there. It's not a question of age. It's a question of how you lead the country. If you say it's only age, then we'll be wrong. But at the same time, if we do not recognize that that because of technology, because of how things have changed, because of the exposure that the new generation have, and because of the way they think about things they see, they naturally will feel very comfortable with someone who is closer to their age than with me, right? That I have to recognize. And then again, I have to be very, very mindful of the fact that there are only 6 members of parliament who are directly elected are either of my age or older. Only 8 PR elected members of parliament who are of my age or older, meaning only 14 people of my age or older. Rest of the 261, rest of the parliamentarians, meaning 261, are younger than me. Even if Gawan Thapa had been returned to the parliament, he would have been above median. Average age of the parliamentarian is quite lower than his age also. So in that sense, it's not only age. So not that everybody has to be Balin Shah's current Prime Minister's age. I mean, can be younger, can be older, but you have to have the right state of mind.
Regarding the recent arrest that Balendra Shah's government has made of prominent leaders, CP and UML has expressed plan for retaliation, while Nepali Congress has remained a bit more silent. What's your stand on it?
First, the way it was done, it's wrong. Civilian authority cannot be held accountable for criminal charges. I mean, the bar is pretty high to prove as a civilian authority can be prosecuted under criminal offense. I do recognize it was very tragic that 76 people young people had to lose their lives because of what happened. That's sad, very tragic, but at the same time, holding civilian authority accountable for criminal wrongdoing. I mean, bars are pretty high, one. Second, the procedure that needs to be followed. I mean, the procedure is pretty clear. I mean, they have to go by the books. They did not. And third, I mean, was there a risk that they will run away or play with the evidences that's there? No, there was not. So, I mean, why did they rush to arrest him and put him behind bars? This was not needed. If there is a very strong case against him, they could have started an investigation. So I would earnestly urge the government, we are a democratic nation. We have to follow the rules. Procedures are very important in democracy. I mean, what's done is important, but even more important than that is how it's done. So the way it was done was wrong, but at the same time, we've taken a position that we will not go back to the street immediately, because I mean, taking everything under your hands probably is not going to help much. This country needs calm. This country needs peace. This country needs better understanding. This country needs to follow democratic norm, and not because we're not sad about it. Not because we don't think it's wrong. It's wrong, plain and simple. But going to the street is not going to solve the problem. It's going to aggravate more. EML has a different take. Why does it have a different take? I don't know. They are a different party.
Do you think this was driven by political vendetta?
I very strongly believe that it was, and it should stop.
Do you think the new government's swift abolition of partisan unions risk creating an administrative vacuum, or this decisive action, is it hallmark of a true government?
In terms of idea, I do agree with the fact that Nepali society is over-politicized. If you look at established political parties or legacy political parties, as many would like to call them, meaning us, we had more than 1 million active members. And UML also has the same. And put all these parties, NC, UML, Maoist, Madhya-based political parties, and other national political parties, we have among ourselves almost 5 million active party workers. And for a country like ours, I mean, why do we need 5 million? I mean, for a country of 30 million, why do you need 5 million people actively pursuing politics? That's not going to do any good. I mean, I rather see them work. I rather see them doing gainful work for themselves, for their families, for the community, make a better living. But we have politicized the entire thing. And then if you ask me, would we have been able to do this? We would not have been. So I mean, thank God it's not us, it's RSP. They can do it. But at the same time, I would only caution them. I mean, look at the law, right? There is existing law, and then if you need to amend it, if it's act amended by the majority vote in the parliament. If it's a government procedure, I mean, then you can amend it by cabinet decision. So I mean, go by the books. Rule of law is important, but having said that, I should recognize our society was too politicized, and if we let the country remain as politicized as it was in the past, we probably will not be able to achieve what people have aspired that they see RSP achieve for them.
Mm-hmm. The party has near 2/3 majority. Do you think, considering all the leaders in the cabinet at the moment and the lawmakers in the parliament, is there a risk of tyranny of the majority?
There's always such risk when you have a government which is close to supermajority, or when you achieve what they have achieved, feat of accomplishment, from a party of 21 seats in the parliament. Now they are a party of 182 in the parliament. I mean, that probably makes them a little too excited. They probably will have a feeling to overreach at times. But I would caution them: do what people would like you to deliver. But at the same time, rule of law is important. As long as you give a clear sense to the people of Nepal that corruption will not be tolerated, but anybody who will be prosecuted will be prosecuted based on the prevailing laws, and injustice will not be done to someone just because they are not RSP supporters. I guess one of the things people didn't like about us was, I mean, we probably were a little too partisan about who was with us and who was not with us back then when we administered law. So I hope they don't do the same thing that people thought we did.
You've served in ministries 3 times. From your experience at the ministries, what kind of hurdles do you think the new government is going to face as they go about implementing all their agendas?
I guess, I mean, there are so many things that the government can and probably will have to do. But for that, they have 5 years. So probably the first order of business is, if people get a feeling that corruption will not be tolerated, if people get a feeling that service will be delivered, if people get a feeling that they will be treated fairly, if people feel that government offices are there to serve the people of Nepal, if people feel that there is rule of law, if people feel that slowly good governance is going to come back, then people will have all the reasons to have confidence about the government they have voted in. And once that confidence there, then government can move in the direction, in a long trajectory, in the direction that we all wanted this country move, and for which it has been already too late. But at the same time, I should also add that institutions are very weak. Our coordination mechanism is very weak. We have very entrenched interest that's there. For past so many years, we've been ruling without governing. Meaning we are on the seat of the power. I should admit that. We meaning, I'm not talking about individual, or I'm not trying to self-blame myself, but at the same time, we as political parties who are running this country, we benefited tremendously, but at the same time, we're not administrating the nation towards prosperity, towards fulfillment, towards making people more confident about what they would like to achieve, and making people feel that they can achieve whatever they want, and government's not going to be on their way from realizing the goal they have for themselves. I mean, in that sense, one might say, well, then you're not doing the right thing. I'm not blaming myself. I'm not retreating. I have a commitment, more stronger commitment to make Congress again relevant for the greater good of people of Nepal. But I would like to add, I've said I many times, but I should add this. I understand that I'm a pretty old man, and there's a limit to what I can do and what I cannot as an individual. As Nepali Congress, we have to recognize that we are in the opposition. It does not mean that we are out of the sight. It means that we have to be there, helping the government constructively. Helping the government constructively means criticizing government, stopping when they do wrong, stopping government when the policy is wrong, when they are trying to do something that's wrong, stopping the government from taking law in its hand, stopping the government from catering to the interests of people around them. And that's the role of an opposition. We should be loyal to the cause of the nation, but at the same time, we should understand we are opposition to the government.
NC has been in the ruling for, had been in fact in the ruling for many, many years. What would you say would be some pitfalls that the government will need to avoid?
Look, I mean, it's very, I mean, they have to understand that they promise a lot. They have to understand that people really truly believe that, I mean, they will deliver it. But they have to basically recognize that not all can happen at once. Hope has to be generated. Otherwise, I mean, if you have, I mean, they have their plates full. They have to understand that, and they have 5 years to do that. First order of business is governance. First order of business is coordination among and between different layers of the government. First order of business is service delivery. First order of business is establishing connection between people's feelings and government's performance, and that is going to generate hope in the country. So I mean, first generate hope. Once people have reasons to feel good about the government, then people will be your best support. Not only their vote, I mean, they moving forward also. The energy is going to be there, and if that energy, with hope, that energy is going to be there. And if the hope, if the energy is there, RSP can deliver what it would like to see delivered.
Well, innocent until proven guilty, few of NC leaders have been mired in controversies. There's also a lot of criticism about the failure to hand over to a new generation the power within the party itself. A lot of issues, of course. What would you say would be a meaningful way of reflection for the leaders?
First, I mean, let me talk about me now. If I do not think about retiring from politics, then I'd be a fool not to. But if I think about retirement only, then I'd be in the retreat mode, which I don't want to be. So I guess, I mean, we have to take things as they are. And many of us, I mean, in the past, had started thinking oneself as being indispensable. None of us, young or old, are indispensable for the nation, indispensable for the party. If we recognize that, then we would come to greater understanding that I may be there, I may not be there, but as long as the mantle's carried forward, as long as the mantle of democracy, rule of law, prosperity for the nation, and fighting for the downtrodden is there, the Party Congress will serve a nation pretty well. And it's going to get back that opportunity to do in the future. But I mean, we should not be restless, but at the same time, we should not rush through anything. And the government also, they have 5 years to deliver what they want to deliver.
Now, aligning with your interest in export competitiveness and trade, the current administration is pushing for rapid reform. While Nepal's export competitiveness has remained fragile, from your perspective, do you think a populist-driven government can successfully navigate the complexities of international trade deals?
Not just because RSP has won, our geography is going to change. Not just because RSP has won, our infrastructure deficit is going to go away. Not just because RSP has won, federal coordination is going to come the way. Not just because RSP has won, we become automatically competitive, right? There are institutional hurdles, but I mean, having said that, we have to understand that that has to change. The commitment has to be there. But if you are thinking that just because I am in the seat of power, things will change, and I'll be able to deliver what I think I am capable of doing, that has not happened in the past. Even when we are running the government, I mean, the commitment was there, but just thinking good things about yourself, thinking good things about country and citizen, is not going to automatically guarantee results. People have voted us out by judging at the results we delivered. People have voted them in, hoping that they will deliver results. And then if they do that, they'll serve the nation well, they'll serve their party well, and as a nation we'll also be happy. I mean, government is everyone's government, even though we are in the opposition. The government is there. Palin Sai is the Prime Minister of the entire nation, not just RSP. Finance Minister is Finance Minister of the entire nation, not just RSP. So I wish them luck. The victory was convincing, but test of pudding lies in eating.
Do you think this government will be able to touch upon or maybe progress on the development aspirations that people have?
First, I will wish them good luck, but at the same time we have to recognize that our capacity to spend our budget, especially capital expenditure, is very limited. If you look at our capital expenditure for past 10 years, in 2016-17 fiscal year, we spent 270 billion Nepali rupees on capital budget, and since then we have not crossed that limit. It's already been almost a decade, and then if you factor in inflation, 270 billion back then is little equivalent to a little over 400 billion Nepali rupees today, and we are nowhere close to that. So first thing is, we have to build our capacity to create capital within the country, which we have not. So I'm sure government understands this difficulty. Government understands the institutional bottlenecks. Government understands where the reforms needed. I'm pretty confident that with the experience current finance minister has, he understands the challenge. So I hope they do understand, not just get euphoric and just think that it will just happen. It's not going to happen. They have to stand up and deliver. Development just does not happen. It takes hard work, a lot of thinking through. They are mandated to do that. A lot of thinking through, a lot of courage, a lot of commitment is needed, and I'm sure they've given enough thought about it. If they have not, they better do that before they put the budget together.
You've often been described as an academic in a room full of politicians. Given that old guard is being silenced, do you see your future role as more of a political practitioner or as a public intellectual guiding a new generation of leaders?
I do not know. I am basically ready for any role that my party or the society grants me. It's not only I who will be deciding what I'll be doing. I can say that I'm in it or I'm not in it. Whatever roles that are there for me, I'm willing to soldier that responsibility. At my age, I'm 68 already. Look, I don't have a lot of ambition, but at the same time, I'm repeating this word many times. I've repeated it many times. I'm not in the mood to retreat, but at the same time, I'm not saying that I am indispensable for Nepali cause. I'm not saying that I'm indispensable for the nation. Individuals are not very important, so I want to be a very happy man. I would do whatever is entrusted upon me, but at the same time, I'm not being too self-assuming.
Dr. Rijal, thank you so much for your time and your opinions.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for having me in this show.
And that is our time today on Insight. As legacy parties scramble to connect with a restless young demographic and a new guard test the limits of technocratic power, one thing is clear: the old rules of Nepali politics are dimming. Thank you for joining us here on NTV World Insight. Until next time. Heaven above and angels below. This is the essence of Ruby Valley. Nestled in the northern part of Nepal's Dhading district, Ruby Valley is a hidden jewel surrounded on all sides by majestic mountain ranges. The landscape here is a feast for the eyes. White rhododendron blossoms paint the hillsides and sprawling rice fields shimmer under the sunlight. At about 300 kilometers from Kathmandu, the valley is a serene retreat, rich in culture, tradition, and natural beauty. Reaching Ruby Valley involves a remarkable trek that starts with a scenic journey from Kathmandu through Nuwakot and Rasuwa, winding towards the base of Ganesh Himal, the towering peak that watches over this land. The trek leads through dense pine and oak forests, terraced farmlands, and vibrant local villages like Tipling, home to the Tamang community. These people live in harmony with nature, cultivating crops and raising livestock while keeping their rich traditions alive, welcoming visitors with warm hospitality and cultural performances.
Ruby Valley has a great tourism potential. It is home to the rare red panda. We have managed to conserve the species very well here. We are culturally diverse too. There are communities like Tamang, Ghale, Gurung and Dalits. They all have their own culture and traditions. The Gurungs have Ghatu Nach. Tamangs have Mendo Maya, Saikhole, Bamsangmo. We are encouraging all the communities to preserve their traditions. We are also helping better manage the homestays and focusing more on trekking trails than roads. The striking Pangsang Pass at 3,800 meters marks a stunning milestone on the route, offering panoramic views of the green-clad hills and distant Himalayan ranges. Below, forests of tall sal trees stand as silent guardians. As travelers traverse this landscape, they witness local women harvesting crops, hear the heartfelt songs sung by villagers in the fields, and feel the essence of a life deeply connected to the land.
Ruby Valley has made sure to preserve the Tamang culture and the traditions till date. For instance, we all still wear our cultural dress. These are our identity. This song has been in our community since ages. It explains to us of our culture. It also includes our tradition of marrying maternal cousins. Our parents emphasize on continuing the practice. I think I'll get married to my maternal uncle's son too.
The daily sight of Ganesh Himal inspires awe and a sense of peace that visitors carry with them. Ruby Valley lies in the heart of the Himalayas, surrounded by some of Nepal's most famous mountain ranges, Manaslu, Annapurna, Langtang and Ganesh Himal itself.
I find this place amusing. I feel happy. People here are very kind and open-hearted. They are very friendly and welcoming. This place is like home to me, as I lived here for 1.5 years.
One can view Pangsang and Peldur Himal from here along with Langtang and Manaslu range. Ruby Valley is like heaven.
Just like its name, Ruby Valley, this place is Valley of Gems and Jewels. There are precious red, blue, black stones and crystals here. It's a fitting place for geological studies. There's a beautiful mountain range that one can view from here, including the Ganesh Himal, which gives so much light and joy to all Nepalese. The place is rich in animal and bird diversity and is home to different herbs. This is a perfect destination for both international and domestic tourists. Everyone should visit this place at least once in their life.
This place has a great potential. This road here connects Nepal with China, and it's also good for trekking. We have helicopter facility, phone and electricity supply. We have all facility that one needs. This is a must-visit destination for both domestic and international visitors.
Ruby Valley is home to different communities. There are as many languages, cultures, and religions as there are communities. Most people are farmers. They do agriculture and also rear livestock. Most take their yaks and sheep upward during monsoon. Up there, it's beautiful. One can find hundreds of different flowers, diverse birds and fauna there. Words are not enough to explain the beauty of Ruby Valley.
This place is a gem. It has precious resources and a great hydropower potential. There are many precious herbs as well. The beautiful mountains and historical sites make this place beautiful.
All my sons and daughters left. They're living their own lives, while we continue to live the way we did. It sounds fun living in the cities, but most don't have their own homes. It must be difficult living in rent. It's easier here. In city, you have to work hard to keep up.
This geographic embrace creates breathtaking scenery at every turn. Yak caravans and mule trains add a touch of timeless charm to the trekking experience, enhancing the rustic beauty of this remote land. The village of Chalis, nestled in the lap of Ganesh Himal, is a cultural crossroads for the Gurung community. Visitors witness their unique traditions, hear their folk songs by evening fires, and enjoy their vibrant dances, which invite travelers to connect on a deeper level.
The journey continues beyond the villages to sacred sites like Tatopani Kunda, where natural hot springs offer spiritual purification and healing waters believed to renew body and soul. From there, hikers embark on a challenging yet rewarding trek to the holy Ganesh Kunda, a glacial pond named after Lord Ganesh. This pristine water body mirrors the majestic peaks around it, creating an ethereal panorama that captivates all those who visit.
Most Nepalese know very well that Ganesh Himal range is believed to be a place Hindu Lord Ganesh visits for rest and recreation. That is its speciality.
With peaks ascending over 7,400 meters, Ganesh Himal stands as a guardian of this sacred valley. Ruby Valley is more than a destination. It is an invitation to experience Nepal's untouched nature, vibrant cultures, and spiritual heritage all in one journey. For those seeking a unique adventure off the beaten path, Ruby Valley offers an unparalleled blend of breathtaking landscapes, warm hospitality, and rich traditions that make it one of Nepal's top destinations for international and domestic travelers.
US President Donald Trump once again warned Iran to make a deal by his Tuesday deadline, saying a whole civilization will die tonight if an agreement is not reached to end the conflict. Trump's statement on Truth Social nonetheless kept the possibility of an off-ramp open, saying that maybe something revolutionary, wonderful can happen. The US President has said he will destroy every bridge and power plant in Iran within 4 hours if it does not end its blockade of Gulf well by 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday.
We have a plan, because of the power of our military, where every bridge in Iran will be decimated by 12 o'clock tomorrow night, where every power plant in Iran will be out of business, burning, exploding, and never to be used again. I mean, complete demolition by 12 o'clock. and it'll happen over a period of 4 hours if we wanted to. We don't want that to happen. We may even get involved with helping them rebuild their nation. And you know what? If that's the case, the last thing we want to do is start with power plants, which are among the most expensive things, and bridges.
Meanwhile, world prices rose on Tuesday, while equities edged up tentatively as investors assessed Trump's latest deadline for Iran to reopen the strategic Strait of Hormuz or be decimated. The US president warned Tehran that its civilian infrastructure will be destroyed if it did not let ships through the waterway through which a fifth of global crude and gas passes. The remarks came as he and the Islamic Republic said a proposal touted by international mediators for a 45-day ceasefire was not yet ready. As the Middle East war enters its sixth week, thousands of people have been killed, the vast majority in Iran and Lebanon. Qatar's foreign ministry spokesperson Mazid Al-Ansari says the Middle East war is very close to a point where it cannot be controlled, as Doha urges all sides to find a resolution before the conflict spirals further.
We were trying to defuse the escalation in the region since 2023. We have been warning since 2023 that escalation left unchecked will get us into a situation where it cannot be controlled. And we are very close to that point. And this is why we have been urging all parties to find a resolution out of this, to find a way of ending this war before it spirals out of control.
Ansari also addressed concerns over nuclear facilities in the conflict zone, saying Qatari Ministry of Environment is monitoring the situation very closely.
On the nuclear facilities, our Ministry of Environment is monitoring the situation very closely. The reporting we have had from them is saying that everything is safe up to this point, but obviously it's very dangerous when we see these kind of attacks in nuclear facilities. We have seen this happen in the war in Ukraine. We have seen this happen now in this war, and it puts the peoples of the region in unbelievable risk. But we are continuing to monitor.
He highlighted the devastating humanitarian consequences that would follow if the hostilities continue unchecked, and stressed that continued violence threatens regional stability. Qatar is calling for renewed diplomatic efforts to prevent the conflict from spiraling further, underscoring the importance of international engagement and cooperation to achieve a peaceful resolution. The World Health Organization (WHO) has confirmed that it has suspended evacuations from Gaza following the killing of a worker contracted to assist in relief efforts on Monday. The incident underscores the dangers faced by humanitarian personnel operating in conflict zones. WHO's spokesperson Christian Lehmeier said they call for protection of civilians and humanitarian workers.
WHO is devastated to confirm that a person contracted to provide services to the organization in Gaza was killed yesterday during a security incident. 2 WHO staff members were present but were not injured. We extend our condolences to the family, loved ones, and colleagues of the deceased. The incident is under investigation by the relevant authorities.
He further emphasized that the safety of its staff is paramount and called on all parties to allow humanitarian operations to continue without any threat.
Following the incident, WHO suspended yesterday's medical evacuation of patients from Gaza via Rafah to Egypt. Medical evacuations will remain suspended until further notice. We are deeply grateful to our colleagues who work day and night despite the risks to ensure that the people of Gaza can access the health care they need. We call for the protection of civilians and humanitarian workers. Peace is the best medicine.
It has been warned that suspension could delay critical medical aid to vulnerable populations in Gaza. Four astronauts on NASA's Artemis 2 mission are on their way back home after a dramatic lunar flyby that saw them travel further far from the Earth than any other humans. The crew lost contact with the Earth as expected for about 40 minutes as they traveled behind the Moon. Soon afterwards, the spacecraft dipped to within a few thousand miles of the lunar surface, and the crew witnessed a total eclipse of the Sun as the Moon blocked out its light. Meanwhile, the Artemis 2 mission's spacecraft Orion broke the record for human travel on Monday, beating a record of 400,000 kilometers held since 1970 by the Apollo 13 mission. The spacecraft was not planning to land on the moon but fly around its far side, the side which is never visible from the Earth. Satellites have photographed the far side before, but the astronauts were the first human eyes to see some parts of the far side surface and its vast craters and lava plains. After the flyby, US President Donald Trump spoke with the Orion team and congratulated them.
Today you've made history and made all America really proud, incredibly proud. We have a lot of things to be proud of lately, but this is there's nothing like what you're doing, circling around the moon for the first time in more than a half a century and breaking the all-time record for the farthest distance from planet Earth. Humans have really never seen anything quite like what you're doing.
He also went on to ask the 4 astronauts what the most unforgettable part of their day had been. An Indian court has handed death sentences to 9 policemen for torturing and killing a father and a son in 2020 after detaining them for allegedly violating COVID-19 lockdown rules. The killings sparked nationwide outrage, prompting the Tamil Nadu government to transfer the investigation to the Central Bureau of Investigation. Within 90 days, the CBI filed charges against the 9 officers, who were subsequently tried and convicted. The court's ruling marks one of the rare instances in India where police officers have received capital punishment for actions taken in the line of duty, highlighting growing scrutiny over law enforcement abuses during pandemic restrictions. The verdict has reignited debates over police brutality and human rights violations in India, especially during strict pandemic enforcement. Venice has reinstated its day tripper fee ahead of the peak travel season. The entry fee, introduced on trial basis from 2024, is intended to curb the number of visitors to the UNESCO World Heritage City. It applies to travelers entering the historic district during busy periods, particularly during weekends and holidays from April to July. The city resumed the system this month and expanded the number of chargeable days to 60 this year. The fee is €5 for those who reserve at least 4 days in advance and €10 for last-minute bookings. Visitors who fail to carry proof of reservation may face fines. Officials say they collected €255,000 in the first 2 days. However, some city councillors and residents argue the system has not reduced visitors' numbers. A visitor from Sri Lanka said he paid the fee several days in advance but believes Venice will continue to attract tourists regardless of the charge. A mesmerizing pattern of concentric circles reflecting Saturn's iconic rings has appeared at the exposed lake bed of Banded Blue Lake in northwest China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. The spectacular terraces rising like giant stairwells from the lake's edges were revealed by seasonal falls in water levels at the lake. Nestled beneath the snow-capped peaks of the Palmer's Plateau, the elevated and layered shoreline regularly draws visitors to marvel at the otherworldly scene whenever it appears. The natural formation is shaped by mineral deposits and sediment layers built up over time, creating its striking circular design. As water recedes, the hidden contours of the lake bed are unveiled, transforming the landscape into a surreal visual spectacle. The phenomenon is temporary, making each appearance a rare and highly anticipated event for travelers and photographers. Experts say such formations highlight the delicate balance of environmental and seasonal changes in high-altitude ecosystems. The stars of the iconic American crime drama Charlie's Angels reunited at Los Angeles Pali Fest to celebrate 50 years since the show first aired, highlighting its enduring impact on television and popular culture. The series, which ran from 1976 to 1981, followed 3 women who left the Los Angeles police force to work as private detectives, challenging traditional portrayals of women on a screen.
Oh, well, women came into their own. It was groundbreaking, game changer for women. It's always about 3 men. But here we were chasing danger. We were not being rescued. We were not a wife, a nurse, a secretary, a girlfriend. We were these strong women that could take down a 200-pound man. It was a fantasy.
The reunion featured discussions, rare footage, and reflections on the show's influence, emphasizing how Charlie's Angels helped redefine female roles in television drama. Fans and industry insiders alike praised the gathering as a milestone in celebrating a program that combined entertainment with progressive representation of women.
The stunning meanders of the Güzeldere Valley, nestled between the Tatvan and Hizan districts of Bitlis in eastern Turkey, are once again drawing attention as spring breathes new life into the landscape. Renowned for its postcard-perfect beauty throughout the year, the valley transforms into an even more captivating spectacle during this season, when lush greenery blankets the terrain and the river swells with fresh mountain runoff. The striking natural formations, shaped over centuries by the persistent flow of water, create a mesmerizing pattern that highlights the harmony between land and river. As temperatures rise and vegetation flourishes, the valley becomes a haven for nature lovers, photographers, and travelers seeking tranquility and scenic beauty. The vivid contrast between the winding river and the surrounding hills offer a visual feast, making the Güzeldere meanders one of the region's most enchanting natural attractions. Over the past month, Hanoi has hosted a series of international and domestic dance performances, putting the Vietnamese capital on the map as a destination for world-class arts. The Russian State Ballet performed 3 nights of classical ballet, including the Nutcracker and Romeo and Juliet, with tickets reportedly selling out for every show. Audiences praised the performances for bringing familiar stories to life on stage. Renowned Chinese dancer Yang Liping presented 4 performances of the Peacock, with 50 tons of props and costumes shipped from China to ensure artistic quality. Organizers highlighted the role of international standard theaters such as Ho Grum Opera in accommodating such large-scale productions. Vietnamese artists are also gaining recognition with contemporary works like the Ballet d'Eau, which blends classical ballet with traditional folk elements, including choo-choo puppets, woven mats, and bamboo fish traps. Experts say these productions are helping Vietnamese arts reach a global audience while preserving cultural roots. Cultural industry leaders note that audiences are attending not only for entertainment but also to engage with the country's artistic and cultural growth, signaling a positive trajectory for Vietnam's cultural sector. The Lagos Fanti Carnival continues to serve as a vibrant cultural link between Brazil and Africa, celebrating the legacy of Afro-Brazilian returnees who settled in Lagos centuries ago. Held annually at the Tafawa Balewa Square, the carnival showcases the rich traditions, music, and colorful costumes that reflect the historical and cultural ties between the 2 continents. Organizers say the event not only preserves centuries-old customs but also promotes cultural exchange and tourism in the region. Attendees participate in parades, traditional dances, and music performances, keeping alive the rhythms and artistry brought back by generations of Afro-Brazilian descendants. The festival has become a major draw for both locals and international visitors, highlighting Nigeria's enduring connections to the African diaspora. Cultural experts note that the Lagos Fanti Carnival provides a living testament to the resilience and creativity of Afro-Brazilian heritage, reinforcing Lagos as a hub for historical memory and cultural celebration in West Africa.
Hello and welcome to The Perspective on NTV World. I am Sabika Shrestha, your host for the weekly current affairs program. Here we bring you the major developments of the week and examine how they shape the road ahead. The government this week rolled out key decisions from reinstating the 2-day weekend to setting the tone through the first parliamentary session. At the same time, developments at home and abroad, from rescue efforts to rising prices, continue to impact daily life. Nepal has officially reinstated the 2-day weekly holiday. Starting from April 6, government offices and educational institutions will remain closed on Saturdays and Sundays. While aimed at conserving foreign exchange, the move has reignited debate over productivity.
Kathmandu's streets are as crowded as ever, but the fuel powering them is becoming a luxury the state can ill afford. Today, the Council of Ministers pulled a familiar lever, the Sunday holiday. The Council of Ministers, led by Prime Minister Balendra Shah, finalized the decision during a Sunday session at Singhadarbar, the government's administrative headquarters. Government spokesperson Minister Sashmit Pokhrel confirmed that the primary driver is the disruption of global energy trades following the virtual closure of the Strait of Hormuz.
पेट्रोलियम आपूर्तिमा उत्पन्न असहजताका कारण 82 चैत 23 गतेबाट लागू हुने गरी सरकारी कार्यालय तथा सम्पूर्ण शैक्षिक संस्थाहरूमा शनिबार र आइतबार बिदा दिने तथा शैक्षिक संस्था बाहेक उल्लेखित कार्यालयहरूको कार्यालय समय 9 देखि 5 बजे कायम गर्ने.
The government spokesperson confirmed that reducing the movement of state-owned vehicles and school buses by just one day could slash consumption by up to 20%. Former Prime Minister Dr. Baburam Bhattarai was quick to lend his weight behind the move. Dr. Bhattarai noted that his own administration had envisioned this shift years ago. According to Dr. Bhattarai, the extended daily hours ensure that total working time is not lost, but rather concentrated for better output per hour and familial peace. But on the digital front, the general happiness is tempered by skepticism. Critics point to the failed experiment of 2 decades ago and most recently in 2022, when a similar trial was scrapped after a few months due to plummeting service delivery standards. Economists are raising the alarm too. Netizens, meanwhile, are asking if the government couldn't provide efficient service in 6 days, how will they manage in 5? Others, however, are welcoming the global standard, noting that aligning Nepal's weekend with the international Sunday closure will streamline international trade and diplomatic communications. To complement the holiday, the cabinet has also fast-tracked legal frameworks to convert existing petrol and diesel government vehicles into electric vehicles. With petrol prices hitting an all-time high of 202 rupees per litre in Kathmandu, the government is betting that this weekend shock will accelerate the nation's transition toward energy independence. As the first Sunday holiday kicks in this weekend, all eyes will be on the Nepal Oil Corporation's balance sheets and the public's patience.
Now moving from policy decisions to the political arena, the first session of the House of Representatives began this week. The second consecutive session on Sunday also elected the Speaker of the Nepal's lower house, Dol Prasad Aryal. At the start of the session, leaders expressed cautious optimism despite mixed reactions from the opposition. Let's take a look.
The session held at the multipurpose hall of the under-construction Federal Parliament building commenced with a moment of silence in tribute to martyrs, including those who lost their lives during the recent Gen-Z protest movement. The session was presided over by Arjun Narsingh Kesi, the senior-most lawmaker acting as a Speaker of the House of Representatives. Following the tribute, party leaders addressed the House, outlining their priorities and expectations from the new parliament. Leaders across the political spectrum were seen enthusiastic and optimistic, expressing commitment to deliver more effective governance and accelerated legislative work. However, the session also witnessed the mixed reactions from opposition parties, with some raising concerns over procedural clarity and the government's immediate agenda, while others stressed the need for stronger accountability mechanisms from the outset. UML leader Kshitiz Thebe emphasized the importance of a smooth and structured start to parliamentary proceedings, highlighting institutional stability and cooperation among parties as key priorities.
पहिलो निर्णय नै हाम्रो गम्भीर असहमति छ. देश द्वन्द्वमा लग्यो, प्रतिशोध साध्यो, देशमा कोही पनि सुरक्षित छैनन् भन्ने सन्देश दियो, निषेधको राजनीति गर्यो, यसले सही बाटो लिएको छैन.
Meanwhile, Rashtriya Swatantra Party's Ranju Darsana said the focus would be on setting a clear direction for governance, with an emphasis on faster decision-making and tangible outcomes through upcoming sittings.
It was more of a technical day because the formal house, the tabling of the bills have not yet properly started. For that, we will have to do a lot of homeworks, of course.
The first session has set the tone for the new parliament with high public expectations for decisive policy making, improved service delivery, and meaningful political consensus in the days ahead.
For a while, shifting beyond borders amid escalating tensions in the Middle East, Nepal has repatriated over 200 citizens. Rescue flights also brought back the remains of Nepalis who died abroad.
Nepal government on Saturday rescued 247 people from the conflict-hit Middle Eastern nations. Among those brought back home from Dubai via Nepal Airlines aircraft includes one infant and a child. Others are 192 men and 53 women. The aircraft also brought back 4 bodies of Nepalis who died under various circumstances in the Gulf countries.
काठमाडौँसम्म पुर्याइदिनुस् भन्नुभयो हामीसँग सँगै राखेर लिएर आयौँ हामीले तर उहाँको घर पाल्पा हो उहाँ बोल्न पनि त्यति राम्रोसँग आउँदैन.
In the latest conflict in the Middle East region, owing to the war between US, Israel and Iran, 7 Nepalis were injured. This happened after drone debris fell in the Ajman region of Abu Dhabi, UAE. The escalating conflict has put the lives of hundreds of thousands of Nepali workers who live in the region at risk, according to those who have been rescued and returned home. So far, 1 Nepali has died and 21 have been injured due to the ongoing Middle East conflict, and more than 86,000 Nepalis have registered their details in the online system provided by the Department of Consular Services to monitor and assess for potential rescue or evacuation efforts. Authorities have urged Nepalis to remain on high alert and stay in contact with their respective embassies. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said embassies have been placed on high alert and are continuously monitoring the situation. Currently, bodies of 38 Nepalis who lost their lives across various Middle East countries unrelated to the war are awaiting repatriation. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs cites the disrupted flights as complicating the process of management and transportation of the remains. Although the process of bringing bodies from cities such as Riyadh, Dubai, Jeddah and Abu Dhabi is ongoing, progress has been slow.
अहिले चाहिँ नि भर्खरै दुबईबाट प्यासेन्जरहरू लिएर चाहिँ नि त्यो फ्लाइट चाहिँ नेपाल फर्किएको छ. त्यसमा मैले केही यात्रुहरूसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरि कतिपयको स्थिति ठिकै रहेको मैले पाएँ भने कतिपय यात्रुहरूले स्थिति अत्यन्तै असहज भएको र नेपाल एयरलाइन्सले यो फ्लाइट गरेकोमा नेपाल एयरलाइन्सलाई धन्यवाद दिएको, नेपाल सरकारलाई धन्यवाद दिएको पनि मैले
Evolving situation in the Middle East indicates potential impacts on the safety and rescue of hundreds of thousands of migrant Nepali workers.
In another development this week, Nepal police have stepped up enforcement, arresting over 200 individuals in a 4-day nationwide crackdown. Authorities say the campaign targets illegal activities and will continue with stricter action. Police spokesperson Deputy Inspector General Abhinaran Kafle said the operation launched on April 1 led to arrests across multiple provinces, with the highest number in Kathmandu Valley. According to police headquarters, dozens were detained each day through April 4 as part of intensified enforcement efforts. Authorities say legal action has been initiated against those arrested and the campaign will continue. In another key development, passenger safety has come into sharper focus under the government's 100 Action Plan. Measures include CCTV installation, women-only blue bus services and enhanced safety provisions. Let's take a look.
The government has prioritized transport sector reforms under its 100-day action plan, focusing on safety, digital monitoring and gender-inclusive mobility. The roadmap includes mandatory installation of CCTV and dashboard cameras in public vehicles, introduction of women-only blue bus services and integration of SOS features in ride-sharing apps to enhance passenger security. Authorities say these measures aim to modernize transport while ensuring accountability and real-time emergency emergency response. Ramhari Pokhrel, spokesperson at the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, said the priority is the safety and security of riders and the ministry is committed to implement the decision within the deadline.
Safety and security is the main issue. According to the 100 days action plan, the deadline for Blue Blast operation is given to us 90 days. We will implement it before the 90 days we are planning, and regarding the CCTV and SOS button, etc., that the deadline is given to us in 30 days. We are planning to complete this action before 30 days.
The government has set April 25th deadline for the reformative measures. However, the reforms come amid rising fuel prices linked to ongoing tensions in the Middle East, increasing pressure on transport operators. The transport entrepreneurs have begun demanding fare adjustments, citing higher operational costs. Commuters, meanwhile, are elated, stating that safety comes first, not only for ladies but all. Though abiding by the government decision directly pertains to the operators, public transportation drivers are also equally responsible.
भाडा त खै अब बढ्नु पर्ने हो, बढा हैन के भन्नु त खै हो, यस्तै अब चलिरहन्छ। भाडा बढाइदिए त हुन्थ्यो, अब त्यो अहिले साउलाई पनि दिनु सकेको छैन, तेल हाल्नै धौधौ भइरहेछ अहिले यो स्थितिमा। सीसी क्यामेरा त कम्पनीले हाल्ने हो, हाल्ने नहाल्ने समितिको कुरा हो। अब मान्छे भनेको त अब सिटफुल मात्र भन्ने त असम्भव हुन्छ। अब स्ट्याम्पतिर त जसरी नै मान्छे उभिहाल्छ, त्यो त असम्भव कुरा हो।
The government's plan signals a push towards safer and more inclusive public transport, though challenges remain in execution and cost management.
Building on that push for safety, ride-sharing services will soon include a mandatory live SOS feature. By April 25, all apps must enable a one-tap system that sends real-time location and trip details directly to Nepal Police.
If you are one of the millions navigating the streets via ride-sharing services, your safety just got a massive digital upgrade. Under the government of Nepal's 100-point agenda for governance reform, a landmark safety rule is now in effect. Initiated by the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transport, this isn't just another policy, it's a direct response to ensure commuters' safety. The ministry has set a strict deadline by April 25, 2026. Every ride-sharing platform must have a fully functional SOS button. This isn't just a call button, it's a digital bridge to Nepal Police Control Room. In a high-stress situation, you might not be able to speak, or you might not know exactly where you are. That's when you hit the SOS button. With the new SOS feature rule, the moment you tap that red shield, a digital package is instantly sent to the police. Number 1, your live GPS location pinpointed in real time on the map. Number 2, vehicle details, the license plate and car or bike model. Number 3, the identity, both your name and the driver's name. Unlike a standard 100 call, this is a silent alert. It allows the authorities to intercept the vehicle with precision, whether you are a passenger facing harassment or a driver facing a potential robbery. Nepal is now aligning the existing ride-sharing services with global giants like Uber and Lyft. While international standards use AI to detect if the vehicle goes off-route, Nepal's reform focuses on the direct police API link. Whether you use Pathao, nDrive or Yango, the sync is happening right now. Pathao is upgrading its 24/7 response team. nDrive and Yango are reinforcing the data transmission. Check your App Store or Play Store today and update the ride-sharing apps with the latest safety patches. We hope you never have to use that button, but in a moment of crisis, it's the most powerful tool you own.
Now turning to reforms in foreign employment, migrant workers can now access medical checkups at government facilities at lower costs. The move is expected to ease financial burdens and improve access.
Nepali workers going abroad for employment are now free from the compulsion to visit expensive private medical colleges for health checkup. The government has started the facility of health checkup in public hospitals and reduced the fee for orientation training to 700 rupees. Earlier, the workers had to pay high fees as they had to go only to designated private medical practitioners. The workers have welcomed the government's decision as a huge sigh of relief.
आर्थिक मन्दी छ नेपालमा रोजगारको व्यवस्था छैन रोजगारको सुविधा छैन यो विगत जुन सिन्डिकेट प्रणाली लागू गरेको थियो त्यो अहिलेको सरकारले पहिलो चरणमा खारेज गरेकोमा म यो सरकारलाई धन्यवाद दिन चाहन्छु.
The Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security has meanwhile made the provision to provide orientation online as well. The ministry believes this will be cost effective as well as transparent.
Pre-departure orientation training भनेर हामी दिन्छौं त्यसको चाहिँ शुल्क 700 रुपैयाँ काम गरेको छ. वैदेशिक रोजगारमा जाने हाम्रो श्रमिकहरूलाई स्वास्थ्य परीक्षण गर्न सहज होस् हैन त्यसपछि उहाँहरुको एफोर्डेबल होस् सहज होस् सजिलै एक्सेस होस् र यसरी चाहिँ स्वास्थ्य चेक जाँच गर्ने संस्थाहरुको पनि कम्पिटिसन बढोस् भनेर हामीले चाहिँ त्यो निर्णय गरेका हौं.
The government's move has ended the monopoly of private medical practitioners and laboratories as well as erased the mediators from the scene. The ministry has also warned of stern action against anyone not abiding by the ministry directive.
विदेशी रोजगारमा पठाइदिन्छु भनेर विदेशमा पठाउने प्रतिवादीलाई 3 देखि 7 वर्षसम्म कैद र बिगोको 50% सम्म हर्जना समेत भराइदिने कानुनी व्यवस्था छ. सोही अनुसार प्रदायक हुन्छ.
The government's decision is believed to reduce the financial burden of thousands of migrant workers. Although many have welcomed the move, some are skeptical about its effective long-term implementation.
Turning to infrastructure, the government plans to establish a state-led construction company to take over stalled projects. While aimed at addressing delays, concerns remain over efficiency and past performance.
The government is preparing to establish a state-run construction company that will directly undertake stalled infrastructure projects according to its 100-day priority plan. The move aims to address delays and negligence in infrastructure projects caused by contractors' mismanagement, inefficiency, and legal complications. The government plans to make legal reforms within 30 days to facilitate the process. Under the proposed policy, the state construction company will not compete with private contractors in bidding processes. However, it will take over projects if contractors show negligence, attempt to create a syndicate, or fail to perform.
सरकारले पूर्वाधार कम्पनी खडा गरिन आवश्यक छैन. नियम कानुन र काम गर्ने वातावरण चाहिँ उपलब्ध गराइदिएर नेपालमै भएका निर्माण व्यवसायलाई रोजगारी सिर्जना गर्ने चाहिँ सरकारले भूमिका निर्माण गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने मेरो मान्यता छ. र जुन निर्माण कम्पनी उहाँले निर्माण गर्नुभएको छ निर्माण व्यवसायीहरूको रोजीरोटी नखसियोस्. किनभने निर्माण व्यवसायले धेरै ठुलो लगानी गर्नुभएको छ. त्यो लगानी फेरि सरकारले आफै फेरि किन गरिरहनु पर्यो. निर्माण व्यवसायीहरूकै क्षमता वृद्धि गरेर निर्माण व्यवसायलाई सक्षम बनाएर आयोजना समयमा सम्पन्न गर्ने दिउ आयोजना बनाउने धारणा लिनुपर्छ.
According to the policy under point 49 section D, if a public infrastructure tender fails twice or if a contract has to be terminated due to contractor's negligence, the government will assign the project directly to the state construction company. The company will also take over long-stalled and incomplete projects. A 30-day review will be conducted to decide whether such projects will continue or be discontinued. National priority projects will see fast-track procedures for land acquisition, compensation, tree cutting, and environmental impact assessments.
त्यो 2 सालमा राम्रो छ. एक त जुन कुनै निजी निर्माण व्यवसायी मित्रहरूले छोडेको काम चाहिँ त्यो कम्पनीले गर्ने भयो एउटा फाइदा. अनि दोस्रो कुरो के हुन्छ भने कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ निजी क्षेत्रका निर्माण व्यवसायीहरू चाहिँ आपसमा मिलोमतो गर्न सक्नु होला हामीलाई थाहा नहुने गरी. अनि त्यस्तोमा चाहिँ सरकारी निर्माण व्यवसायी अथवा सरकारी निर्माण कम्पनी पनि त्यो प्रतिस्पर्धामा भाग लिन पाउने हो. त्यसले गर्दाखेरि त्यो सरकारी निर्माण कम्पनीसित प्रतिस्पर्धामा उहाँहरू आउनुपर्छ. उहाँहरू भित्र मिलोमतो गर्न पाउनु न. त्यसको हिसाबले चाहिँ त्यसले त फाइदा छ.
The government plans to introduce an integrated and automated approval system. The initiative also aims to break what authorities describe as a contractor syndicate that delays projects through repeated deadline extensions. The state construction company will be provided with necessary resources, equipment, and skilled manpower to carry out its work. The government had previously established a similar construction company, but it was later dissolved after failing to compete with private contractors and becoming ineffective due to alleged politicization.
That's the perspective for this week. We will be back next week with more key developments. Thank you for watching NTV World.
Nepal has numerous places and monuments of historical, archaeological, religious, cultural, and natural significance. Among them, one is Bodhanath Stupa that lies in the northeast of Kathmandu. This world-famous stupa is the property of ancient arts and culture. It is also the property of Buddhist civilization. This region, spread in about 7,630 square meter area, is about 7 kilometers far from Kathmandu Darbar Square. It is about 100 feet in radius and has a height of about 141.8 feet. Its date of construction is not yet exactly ascertained. However, some theories based on some myths, chronology, and some written scriptures of Guru Padmasambhava are popular. The stupa, which is the largest stupa in the world, is believed to be constructed with the remains of Kashyapa Buddha in it. This stupa, also considered as the symbol of Trikal Buddha's heart, harbors thousands of devotees and visitors every day. Furthermore, with the enlistment of the stupa in the UNESCO's World Heritage List, its fame has skyrocketed. Despite the fact that majority of residents around the stupa are from Tamang community, there are also people from other communities like Newar, Sherpa, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Tibetans, and so on. This very feature symbolizes unity in diversity. The history of Bodhanath Stupa. The history of its construction is still mysterious. However, different myths, chronicles regarding its establishment are popular. As per the scripture of Guru Padmasambhava, Bodhanath is called Jarung Khashor in Tibetan language. According to a myth, an angel named Purnima Gangchungma was born in earth as a punishment for stealing flour in heaven. She was born in a place in Nepal as Jajima, a daughter of poultry farmer. Later, when she grew up, she got married to a horse trader. After the birth of a son, the horse trader died. She then got married to a pig trader. After the birth of a son, the pig trader too died. Then after, she married a dog trader. He too died after the birth of a son. Finally, she got married to a poultry farmer. He too died after the birth of a son. The mother of 4 sons then got involved in poultry farm and amassed a bigger fortune. After her sons got married, she still had a bigger chunk of wealth and she decided to devote herself in religious rites. Then a thought of establishing a stupa was emerged in her mind. She then pleaded the king to allot some land to make the stupa. The king responded to her demand positively. However, a widow willing to perform a larger kind of pious work was intolerable to the wealthy people of that community. They then went to the king pleading him to stop the project. Since the king had already promised her, he denied going as per their request. Due to this reason, the word Kashwar was added to the name, which means slipped promise. And finally, it became Jarung Kashwar. In Tibetan language, Ja means year of the bird. The construction was said to be initiated and ended in the same year of bird after 12 years. So it is believed to be called Jarung Kashwar. Jajima died 4 years after the start of the project. Then her 4 sons continued the project. Due to their pious work, those 4 sons are reincarnated as Holy King Trisong Duchen, great Buddhist preacher Shanta Rakshit, Guru Padmasambhava, and religious minister Bami Thiser in Tibet, and had worked for the establishment of Buddhism according to a myth. According to a belief, Bodhanath Stupa was constructed in around 5th century. It is said that the stupa was discovered in the era of Lichavi king Shivadev. Some Buddhists believe that, like Swayambhunath, Bodhanath was also self-created. According to a chronicle written by Daniel Wright, the stupa was constructed by King Manadeva I, which was started in 464 AD and completed in 505 AD. It was later destroyed by Mughal king and later reconstructed. It is coated with thousands of grams of gold. Water is filled in the stupa's pond in every 12 years, and in every 12 years there is a carnival to observe the Bodhanath pond. During the carnival, thousands of Buddhist devotees, either local or foreign, visit the spot to see the pond and take the water out from the pond. It is believed that whosoever sees the pond and drink water from it will have his or her illness remedied, and healthy people will gain immunity to fight against the diseases. A Chinese lama is appointed by the Guti Sansthan that belongs to the government of Nepal, whereas the Ministry of Culture and Tourism has established Bodhanath Area Development Committee that looks after Bodhanath and performs all the necessary renovations of the stupa. This stupa is based on the practice of Mahayana Buddhism. It is also taken as the symbol of Chintamani. As per the Buddhist model of construction, bricks, mud, stones, wood, copper and gold were used to construct the stupa. It has 5 layers of construction, which are considered as the 5 elements of nature that are needed for the creation. The upper portion of the stupa from the ground level is considered as the earth. The core above it is considered water. 13 Bhuvan symbolizes fire. Chatravali symbolizes air, and the topmost dome indicates the sky. There's a ring road that encircles the stupa. Buddhists encircle the shrine chanting Om Mani Padme Hum. That chanting the mantra will free oneself from all miseries and will finally achieve salvations from the heaven, hell, earth and other places. There are 6 such places in total according to Buddhism. Different statues of Bodhisattva are placed in different parts of the stupa. Mantras are written in each statue. There are 108 different parts in the stupa, and a statue of different gods and goddesses rests in each part. There are 108 total statues placed on those parts. Its dome is considered as the symbol of the universe. The 2 eyes in each direction is called Harmika. Harmika indicates the 4 noble truths and 8 rightfold paths. These peaceful and thoughtful eyes also symbolize knowledge and measures to rid from evil. It is believed that the gaze of the eyes will rid oneself from sex, anger, greed, attachment, jealousy, gluttony, and pain, and will take the mind to bliss, non-violence, and positivity. The question mark-like symbol below the eyes symbolizes nirvana, and the dot symbolizes wisdom. There are 13 more stories above the Harmika. These 13 stories indicate the 13 places after life that Bodhisattva crosses. After the 13th story lies a gold-plated copper lotus. The flower symbolizes softness, purity, kindness. Then after lies Chatravali's, which is considered as a protector of the stupa. The top part of the stupa is considered as the symbol of Sumeru mountain, which indicates greatness. It is believed that after reaching the peak, one is supposed to attain nirvana, shunyata. Buddhist devotees pray to the shrine, seeking welfare not just for themselves but for the entire living creatures. Nepal signed the World Heritage Conservation Treaty to renovate of different cultural and religious heritages with the aid of UNESCO in 1978. By 1979, 7 places inside the Kathmandu Valley were listed in the World Heritage List. One of those 7 heritages is Bodhanath. Different festivals and jatras are celebrated in Bodhanath every year. Among them, one is Mamla Jatra. It is also called Azim Jatra. There is no authentic documentation regarding the origin of this jatra, yet oral tradition says it had begun in the 8th century after Guru Rinpoche Azim was established as the protector of this area.
र यो जात्रा चाहिँ विशेष गरेर ममको स्मरणमा ममको सम्झनामा मनाउने गरिन्छ।
Likewise, a day before Chaitra Purnima, Temal Jatra is observed. This Jatra is celebrated especially by Tamang community. During this Jatra, Tamangs from Kathmandu and neighboring districts visit the place and ignite lights in the loving memory of their deceased relatives. There's a tradition of giving alms and donations after the completion of puja. They also sing Tamang Selo and dance with the song. Vaisakh Purnima celebrates Buddha Jayanti. This is the day on which Lord Buddha was born, got enlightenment, and received Mahaparinirvana. There is a special puja on this day for the same reason. In the like manner, people perform plantation of paddy as the festival during the month of July-August. This jatra is a part and parcel of Buddhist identity. People light lights in the memory of their deceased relatives on this jatra as well. On Mangsir and Paush, October, November and December, January, people celebrate the Dasami Cheju Puja related to Guru Rinpoche. Losar, which is New Year, is also celebrated in a grand way. Special carnival is observed here during Sonam Losar. Similarly, after death of a Buddhist in the area, the deceased body is taken around the mortal remains is taken around the shrine and then cremated. It is believed that taking the body around the shrine will free the deceased person from all the worldly and afterlife sufferings. These festivals and celebrations are no doubt a continuation of Buddhist culture, but are equally useful in preserving the Buddhist culture as well as for the promotion of tourism. This World Heritage Site has religious, historical and cultural significance. It is our responsibility to promote this holy place as a beautiful tourist destination for the visitors from all over the world and work for the preservation of it as well.
कुण्डमा जानुभएको छ, म पनि पुगेर आएँ। दुधकुण्ड असाध्यै पवित्र स्थल, यो हिमाल काखमा रहेको तीर्थस्थल हो, पुण्यस्थल हो, देवस्थल हो र त्यहाँ चाहिँ एकचोटि पुग्नै पर्दो रहेछ। त्यहाँ पुगेर जुन आनन्दको अनुभूति हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ कहीँ पनि पाइँदैन भन्ने चाहिँ महसुस भयो।
आनन्द लाग्यो, मस्त लाग्यो। अनि यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ आएर तपस्या गरेर बस्नु जस्तो लाग्यो मलाई।
एकदमै राम्रो लाग्यो होइन, प्रकृतिले दिएको रमणीय तीर्थस्थल होइन। जो कोही पनि एकचोटि चाहिँ यहाँ आएर एकचोटि भ्रमण गरेर दर्शन गर्नुपर्छ।
Government makes crucial appointments, slashes petroleum customs duty by 50% to provide immediate relief. Austerity measures hit civil servants' fuel quotas. Senior officials and ministers exempt from benefit cuts. Lawmakers demand government action on public grievances as House tables major bills. Next session to be held tomorrow. Federal government orders immediate refund of illegal school fees as ministry intensifies nationwide monitoring of private institutions. President Trump issues dire warning of civilizational collapse as Iran faces midnight deadline to reopen Strait of Hormuz. And Real Madrid hosts Bayern Munich in blockbuster Champions League quarterfinal as Arsenal travel to Sporting for first leg clash. Good evening. Welcome to NTV World. I am Shivani Thapa-Bosnet and you are with NTV World News Hour. We're coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. The news detail now. The cabinet has decided to appoint Dr. Gunakar Bhatta as Vice Chair of the National Planning Commission and named Kiran Pandit as Deputy Governor of Nepal Rashtra Bank. Also, in a move to provide economic relief, the government has approved a 50% customs duty cut on petroleum products to ease rising fuel costs. Additionally, an $85 million concessional loan from the World Bank has been accepted for the Greater Lumbini Development Project. Further administrative decisions include the relocation of key energy-related offices and the acceptance of resignations from the problematic Cooperatives Management Committee. The cabinet also approved land acquisition in Dhuni Besi and Uttar Gaya. Turning to infrastructure, the government has cleared the use of over 46 hectares of forest land, allowing for the felling of nearly 19,000 trees to facilitate the Kathmandu-Tarai Madhes Expressway project.
राष्ट्रिय आयोजना आयोगको उपाध्यक्ष पदमा डाक्टर गुणाकर भट्ट जिल्ला डोटीलाई नियुक्त गर्ने। त्यसैगरी नेपाल राष्ट्र बैंकको रिक्त दुई डेप्युटी गभर्नर पदमध्ये एकमा नेपाल राष्ट्र बैंकका कार्यकारी निर्देशक श्री किरण पण्डितलाई नियुक्त गर्ने। त्यसैगरीकन अर्थ मन्त्रालय अन्तर्गतकै अर्को पनि एउटा निर्णय भएको छ। पेट्रोल डिजल र मट्टीतेलको पैठारीमा लाग्दै आएको भन्सार महसुल र पूर्वाधार विकास करमा 50% छुट प्रदान गर्ने। मूल्य समायोजनको बाध्यता छ। सरकारले यो तथ्य लुकाउँदैन, त्यसैले पेट्रोलियम पदार्थको मूल्य समायोजन गर्न व्यावहारिक देखिएको छ। पेट्रोलियम पदार्थ खपत नियन्त्रणका लागि आइतबार सार्वजनिक विधा शैक्षिक सत्र वैशाख 15 बाट सुरु हुने, त्यसैगरी थोक बिक्री नियन्त्रण र उच्च पदस्थको इन्धन कोटा कटौती गरिसकेको अवस्था छ। आवश्यक परे जोड बिजोड प्रणाली पनि यो सरकारले लागू गर्नेछ। सरकार जनतासँग वर्क फ्रम होम र विद्युतीय साधनको प्रयोग बढाउन आह्वान गर्दछ। त्यसैगरी दीर्घकालीन रूपमा विद्युतीय गाडी रूपान्तरणको कानुनी व्यवस्था अगाडि बढेको छ। यसका लागि इथानोल नीतिमा तयारी भइरहेको छ र ईभी पूर्वाधार विकासमा यसको विस्तारका लागि पनि सरकार प्रतिबद्ध छ। नेपाल सरकार सबैजनालाई भन्न चाहन्छ कि सरकार पारदर्शी छ, सत्य लुकाउँदैन, तर जनताको पीडा पनि बुझ्छ। ऊर्जा बचत गरौँ, संयमित बनौँ, सँगै उभियौँ।
The government has announced a significant reduction in fuel allowances for civil servants and high-ranking officials. The move is part of a broader effort to control public spending and manage the ongoing fuel crisis. Under the new directive, secretaries will see their monthly fuel quota slashed from 125 litres per rupees down to 70. The secretary-level officials are also affected, with their previous 100-litre allocation reduced by half to 50 litres per month. The austerity measures extend to office operations as well. Fuel quotas for government offices have been significantly lowered, with smaller units receiving nearly half of their previous supply. Similar cuts have been applied across the board based on total staff size. Additionally, the monthly petrol allowance for two-wheelers has been reduced. However, benefits for ministers and constitutional office holders remain unchanged under the current revision.
अब पेट्रोलियम पदार्थको आपूर्तिमा केही असहजता हुन सक्ने र त्यसको मूल्य वृद्धि यो दुवै पक्षलाई मध्यनजर गरेर अर्थ मन्त्रालयले जुन कार्य सञ्चालन निर्देशिका मार्फत जुन एउटा निश्चित सीमा तोकिया थियो कुन पदाधिकारीले कति इन्धन सुविधा पाउने भन्ने त्यसमा कार्य सञ्चालन निर्देशिका संशोधन गरेर त्यसमा केही कटौती भएको छ। त्यसले पक्कै पनि यो खर्च मितव्ययिता र मध्यपूर्वले सिर्जना गर्ने सङ्कटलाई चाहिँ केही समाधान गर्न केही सहयोग पुग्ने अपेक्षा छ।
Well, further on this in our cover story segment coming up later in the bulletin. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives have raised multiple public concerns, urging the government to ensure fertilizer availability, clear payments to sugarcane farmers, and prepare for possible monsoon-related disasters. They also demanded the immediate introduction of a road safety bill, legal action over the crackdown on the Gen Z movement, and solutions to crop damage caused by monkeys in hilly regions. Concerns were also raised over restricted zones such as Manang and Mustang, with calls for local level management to safeguard citizens' rights. Meanwhile, the House tabled 3 bills received from the National Assembly, including those related to forensic science, tourism and film. The next meeting of the House is scheduled to be held tomorrow at 1 p.m. The federal government has directed local governments to withdraw admission fees collected by schools in violation of the new academic calendar, which will begin from April 28th. The Ministry of Education has instructed enforcement of earlier orders banning unlawful admission and other fees charged by private schools. The decision follows the Cabinet's move to shift the academic session due to fuel supply concerns, with local governments tasked to regulate and monitor schools under constitutional authority. The ministry is also implementing a Supreme Court ruling that prohibits student enrollment before the official start of the academic year. Authorities have urged schools to comply with existing fee regulations, allowing only charges approved under the private school fee determination standards. In the international front, tensions in the Middle East reach a breaking point as US President Donald Trump has issued a dire ultimatum. Trump warns that a whole civilization will die tonight, quote unquote, unless Iran agrees to a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by tonight's 8 p.m. Eastern deadline. While the president suggested something revolutionary, wonderful, quote unquote, could still happen, the military reality is escalating. The US has launched new strikes on Kharg Island, targeting Iran's primary oil terminal. In Iran, state media reports casualties in Kashan following Israeli warnings to avoid public transport. Meanwhile, Israel confirmed a fresh barrage of Iranian missiles as the White House denies that Vice President J.D. Vance suggested the use of nuclear weapons in the conflict. European football's heavyweights collide tonight as Real Madrid host Bayern Munich in a massive Champions League quarter-final first leg. The clash at the Santiago Bernabeu marks another chapter in a storied rivalry of their last 6 knockout meetings over 14 seasons. The Spanish giants have claimed 4 victories to Bayern's 2. The action kicks off at 12:45 a.m. Nepal time. Simultaneously, Arsenal travel to Portugal to face Sporting in their own high-stakes quarter-final opener. Well, we're headed for a short break here. Still to come, from Jhapa to Chitwan, the devastating toll of the latest bird flu outbreak. We look at the containment efforts as nearly 23 farms are hit and poultry farmers face massive losses. That story and more in our issue of the day coming up next. Here with NTV World News Hour, and we're headed for the issue of the day. Recent bird flu outbreak in Nepal is gradually coming under control after weeks of spread across multiple eastern districts. Authorities say strict containment measures have helped reduce the risk, though significant losses have already been recorded. A report.
The spread of bird flu in poultry across Morong, Jhapa, Sunsari and Chitwan has been decreasing. Since late March, more than 100,000 chickens from 22 poultry farms in these districts have been destroyed due to the infection, with estimated losses of around 100 million rupees, according to Department of Livestock Services. After bird flu was detected on March 17, at a farm in Urlabari, Morong, authorities immediately imposed containment measures, including quarantining and culling, which helped bring the outbreak under control.
कुखुराका चल्लाहरू आपूर्ति गर्ने, दाना सप्लाई गर्ने, अन्डा सप्लाई गर्ने, सवारी साधन जसले चाहिँ हामी ओसार पसार गर्छौं भने त्यो सवारी साधन राम्रोसँगले चाहिँ सरसफाई र निसंक्रमण गरेर मात्रै चाहिँ गर्नु पर्यो। नत्र भने एउटै यातायातको साधनले हामीले सबै कुखुरा चल्ला अन्डा निर्बाध रूपमा फार्म भित्रै पनि हामी पसाउनु भएन, त्यो ओसार पसार गराउनु नै भएन यस्तो अवस्थामा। अर्को भनेको हाम्रो फार्मको वरिपरि हामीले हेर्दाखेरि कस्तो देख्छौँ, ठुल्ठुला रुखहरू, बाँसज्याङहरू, त्यस्तो भयो भने जंगली चराहरू आएर बस्ने त्यो सम्भावना भएकोले उनीहरूले संक्रमण सार्न सकिरहेका हुन्छ। त्यस्तो वातावरण सिर्जना गरिदिनु भएन। त्यस्तो जंगली चराचुरुङ्गी इभन कुकुर बिरालाहरू पनि फार्म भित्र प्रवेश गर्न दिनु भएन। उनीहरूले मरेको कुखुरा ल्याएर अन्यत्रतिर लैजान सक्छन्, अरूतिर सार्न सक्छन्। त्यो प्र्याक्टिसहरू नगराउनु होला।
Veterinarians say bird flu in Nepal often spreads through the open border with India and migratory birds. The current strain H5N1 is highly pathogenic. Vaccines are available in Nepal, but are currently supplied only by the private sector. Poultry raised for short periods require 1 dose, while long-term poultry need 2 to 3 doses. Although poultry insurance is not mandatory in Nepal, the government provides up to 75% compensation of the production cost to farmers whose chickens are destroyed due to bird flu. Bird flu was first reported in Nepal in 2009.
The deadly avian influenza bird flu has pushed many poultry farmers of Koshi province of eastern Nepal to the brink of being displaced. Tens of thousands of chickens across several farms in Jhapa and Sunsari districts have been completely culled due to the recent outbreak. In areas where the highly virulent strain was detected, the government has moved to seal off the affected zones. Bijeta Bhandari, along with our correspondents Dikesh Lama and Santosh Yadav, brings a report.
The outbreak of bird flu, especially in eastern Nepal, has pushed poultry farmers and entrepreneurs to the brink, with many facing severe financial losses and uncertainty about their future. In Jhapa, the spread of avian influenza since late March has led to the culling of tens of thousands of chickens across Damak, Kamal, Birtamod and other areas. At least 8 poultry farms have been completely emptied after infections from 2 different virus strains were confirmed. Authorities say poultries affected by the highly virulent H5N1 strain have been sealed, while intensive disinfection measures are underway to prevent further spread.
संक्रमण हुने जुन रिस्क छ त्यो त यथावतै छँदैछ। त्यही कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ सतर्क हुनै पर्यो। तर यो जुन टिमले प्रतिवेदनले पेश गरेको 4 किल्लालाई चाहिँ हामी संकटग्रस्त क्षेत्र घोषणा गरेर त्यस भित्र रहेका सम्पूर्ण कुखुरा तथा पन्छीहरूलाई चाहिँ हामी नष्ट गर्छौं।
Despite these containment efforts, the losses for farmers have been devastating. To prevent further spread of the disease, even live chickens have been culled. One operator of an agricultural farm in Damak, who had to destroy around 20,000 chickens, says his entire investment has been wiped out.
2 महिनापछि खोल्देला खोले पनि त अब फेरि अब 2-3 करोड रुपैयाँ त लाग्छ। अनि त्यो पैसा कहाँबाट जुटाउने? अब बैंकबाट थप कर्जा मागौँ भन्दा अगाडि पनि लिइरहेको छ। झन् अब यो बिग्रेको पैसा अब यो झन् कुखुराको त यस्तो हुँदो रहेछ भनेर बैंक पनि त्रसित भयो होला।
The crisis extends to neighboring Sunsari district, where poultry farms are increasingly falling silent. In Itari submetropolitan city alone, 8 poultry farms have had to cull their chickens. A farmer who lost 12,000 layer chickens says the outbreak has not only disrupted his daily work, but also pushed him into financial distress.
अब मेरो कुखुरा चाहिँ 12,000 हो 12,000 सबै मारियो अब ऋण र लोन त अब धेरै छ हैन नष्ट भएको कुखुराहरु अब नेपाल सरकारले क्षतिपूर्ति दिन्छ भनेको छ हैन नेपाल सरकारले सिल हाम्रो कम्पनी चाहिँ 45 दिनको सिल गरेको छ.
According to officials, chickens have been destroyed in at least 11 poultry farms across Sunsari. However, the actual scale of damage could be far greater, as many small-scale farmers in rural areas remain outside formal records. Although the government has set compensation, farmers argue that production costs are nearly double, leaving them to bear significant losses. The lack of insurance coverage for poultry has further deepened the crisis. Experts warn that without effective disease control, fair compensation, and reliable insurance mechanisms, many farmers risk being forced out of the poultry sector altogether.
And in this backdrop, in our Public Pulse segment, we asked the farmers what do they expect from the government. Let's have a look at what they had to say.
किसानले त अब बाँच्ने बाटो नै यही हो हैन चल्ने ठाउँ यही हो हामी यसैले उम्किदै थियौं अब किसानले यसरी मर्दियो मार्दियो भने हाम्रो त सखा सम्पत्ति गयो हैन नभए पनि 3-4 करोडको नोक्सान भकै छ अब त्यसमा के गर्दिनु भने सरकारले हामीलाई अलिकति पनि राहत दियो भने हेर्यो भने त्यसपछि के हुन्छ नि हामी गर्न सकिन्छ अब दिएन भने त हामी त गर्ने बाटै छैन
अब अलिअलि दिनु भयो भने चाहिँ हुन्छ होला दिनु भएन भने त अब हुँदैन होला नि
लगभग 40-45 लाख रुपैयाँ 3500 कुखुरामा डुब्छ र त्यो अवस्थामा राज्यले कुनै सहयोग गरेन भने बैंकले लगभग जग्गा लिलामै गर्ने हो उसको आफ्नो त असुल छ त्यो अवस्थामा सुकुम्बासी नै हुनुपर्ने हुन्छ अनि समाजबाट पनि परिवारबाट पनि एक्लिनुपर्ने अवस्था चाहिँ आउँछ
अब यसको कारणले पनि पनि गाउँमा पनि अलिकति असरै पुर्यायो अब भइसके व्यवस्थित गरेर पाल्दिए हुन्थ्यो अनि हामीलाई पनि अब रोगी मान्छेलाई एकदम गाह्रो के गन्ध कति आउँछ नि त त्यो कुखुराले अनि अब सास फेर्न मजाले फोक्सो बिरामी सास फेर्न एकदमै गाह्रो हुन्छ
यो रोग बढिरहेको छ हामी मिडिया आउँदै सुन्छौं अधिराज्य चाहिँ बढेको छ चराचुरुङ्गीबाट आएको भन्ने कुरा सुनिन्छ अब यो लगभग पलायन हुनु हुँदैन पेशा दिनुपर्छ राज्यले
लानै ल्याउने अन्डा बेच्ने त्यस्तो धेरै थियो अहिले त यस्तो केही छैन कोही आउँदैन भन्नाले हिजो अस्ति डाक्टरहरू आउनु भएर थियो
चानै भएपछि किसान अब यत्रो अब 20,000-22,000 कुखुरा मरेर गाड्यो अब सरकारले पनि यसो अलिअलि हेरिदिनु पर्छ
And that wraps up our issue of the day. After the break, Nepal slashes fuel allowances for government officials amid rising oil prices and fiscal pressure. Why the government is tightening benefits and what it means. Coming up next. We connect to the cover story of the day. The government has decided to provide a 50% concession on customs duties for import of petroleum products and infrastructure development tax related goods amid rising fuel price pressures. Officials said the move comes as Nepal recorded losses of around 11.72 billion rupees in petroleum product transactions over the past 15 days, which is around $88 billion. prompting urgent policy adjustments. The government added that it is aligning fuel pricing with international market trends while also promoting measures such as alternative transport systems and cleaner energy options to ease demand pressure. Nepal has sharply reduced fuel allowances for government officials, cutting benefits for many civil servants by nearly half. The move comes as the country faces rising global oil prices, fuel supply constraints, and growing fiscal pressure. Siksha Patrai with Kamala Aryal brings more.
The government of Nepal has reduced fuel allowances for civil servants and senior officials as part of efforts to curb public spending and manage fuel supply challenges. The Ministry of Finance said the decision was driven by rising international petroleum prices, supply imbalances, and lower than expected revenue collection in the current fiscal year. Spokesperson of the Ministry of Finance stated that the measure aims to ensure efficient use of limited resources while maintaining essential government functions.
अब पेट्रोलियम पदार्थको आपूर्तिमा केही असहजता हुन सक्ने र त्यसको मूल्य वृद्धि यो दुवै पक्षलाई मध्यनजर गरेर अर्थ मन्त्रालयले जुन कार्य सञ्चालन निर्देशिका मार्फत जुन एउटा निश्चित सीमा तोकिया थियो कुन पदाधिकारीले कति इन्धन सुविधा पाउने भन्ने त्यसमा कार्य सञ्चालन निर्देशिका संशोधन गरेर त्यसमा केही कटौती भएको छ। त्यसले पक्कै पनि यो खर्च मितव्ययिता र मध्यपूर्वले सिर्जना गर्ने सङ्कटलाई चाहिँ केही समाधान गर्न केही सहयोग पुग्ने अपेक्षा छ।
Under the new provisions, secretaries and high-ranking officials will now receive 70 liters of fuel per month, down from 125 liters. Similarly, joint secretaries will receive 50 liters, reduced from the previous 100 liters. Fuel allocations for office operations have also been cut significantly. Offices with up to 50 employees will now receive 35 liters of petrol and 50 liters of diesel, nearly half of the previous allocation. Additional fuel will be provided based on staff size, with 35 liters of petrol and 50 liters of diesel allocated for every additional 100 employees. Employees using two-wheelers will now receive only 8 liters of fuel per month, down from 12 liters. However, fuel facilities for ministers and constitutional office holders remain unchanged.
Now that's a wrap to our cover story. Moving on with the rest of the updates, the House of Representatives has been meeting almost on a daily basis in its temporary structure. However, Nepali Congress, the second largest party in the parliament, is struggling to catch up to the pace of the new government. Although 5 of the 6 parties represented in parliament have already selected their parliamentary leaders, the process in Nepali Congress has been delayed, understandably due to an increasing number of aspirants. Here's a report.
Since a parliamentary party leader could not be selected on the basis of immediate consensus, the main opposition, Nepali Congress, in the House of Representatives has formed a committee under the coordination of party leader Prakash Snehi. The committee is holding discussions but has not yet reached a conclusion as of yet. Several leaders, including Arjun Narsingh Kesi, Basanta Thapa, Bhishmaraj Angdembe, Nishkal Rai, Mohan Acharya and Narendra Kerung have staked their claims. The delay is due to internal disagreement over whether the post should go to the establishment or opposition faction following the party's recent special general convention. As the opposition leader also becomes a member of the Constitutional Council, the post is considered highly significant. A consensual decision may still take a few days for the second largest party and the main opposition in the lower house.
Congress लोकतान्त्रिक पार्टी पनि हो, यसमा विचार र विमर्शहरू हुन्छन्, मन्थन पनि हुन्छन्, सँगैमा तपाईको अपेक्षाहरू पनि थुप्रै नेताहरूको रहेको छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि उसलाई अझ सहमति ढंगबाट अगाडि बढ्नको लागि नेताहरू लाग्नु भएको छ। त्यसैले गर्दाखेरि नै अहिले केही दिन लाग्ने हो, तर हामी छिटै टुङ्गिन्छ यो विषयमा।
While other parties have already selected their parliamentary party leader, including Prime Minister Balendra Shah for the largest party, Ram Bahadur Thapa Badal for CPN UML, Pushpa Kamal Dahal for Nepali Communist Party, NCP, and Harka Sampang for Shram Sanskriti Party. Rashtriya Prajatantra Party's only directly elected MP, Gyan Bahadur Shahi, has also been chosen as parliamentary party leader. However, parties are yet to appoint chief whips and whips. Shram Sanskriti Party and RPP have also raised concerns over rules related to the 10-seat threshold for privileges.
संविधानमा के लेखिया छ भने विभेद गर्नुहुन्न भनेर लेखिया छ के पहिलो पृष्ठभूमिमा हैन त्यसो गर्दाखेरि तपाईको चाहिँ अब चाहिँ कि त राष्ट्रिय दलको मान्यता दिनु भएन दिइसकेपछि तपाईँ त्यसको चाहिँ दिने सेवा सुविधा छुटाउनु हुँदैन क्या यो हाम्रो लागि मात्रै भनेको हैन भोलिको दलको लागि पनि भनेको अहिले भएको दलको लागि पनि भनेको अब हामीमा त 10 सिट पुरा नगर दलको पार्टी पनि छ भोलि यस्तो अन्य पार्टी पनि आउला
As per past practice, the chair of the Public Accounts Committee is allocated to the opposition and discussions on the remaining parliamentary posts are expected to move forward in the coming days.
Nepal Trade Union Congress has expressed serious concern over the issue of abolishing trade unions mentioned in the government's governance reform agenda. At a press conference held in Kathmandu today, the Trade Union Congress stated that trade unions have played a crucial role in the country's transformation and said that their abolition would not be appropriate. It further said since the Constitution guarantees workers the right to form and participate in trade unions, any attempt to ban or dissolve them would be a direct violation of fundamental rights, according to the Nepal Trade Union Congress President Yogendra Kumar Kuwar.
Nepal ko संविधान को धारा 34 जसमा राइट टु अर्गनाइजिङ कलेक्टिभ बार्गेनिङ र यो राइट टु फेयर वेज र कन्ट्रिब्युसन बेस्ड सोशल सेक्युरिटीलाई फन्डामेन्टल राइटको रूपमा रहेको छ त्यसै गरिकन नेपालको श्रम ऐन ट्रेड युनियन ऐन र अरु प्रचलित ऐनहरूले व्यवस्था गरे अनुसार नेपालका ट्रेड युनियनका गतिविधिहरू चलिरहेका छन्.
The Trade Union Congress has also demanded the immediate reversal of decisions restricting organizational freedom, abolishing the minimum wage board and limiting government advertisements and publications to state-owned media only. Newly elected Vice Chair of the National Assembly, Leela Bhandari, today took an oath of office in secrecy before the National Assembly Chair Narayan Prasad Dahal in the presence of President Ramchandra Paudel. The swearing-in ceremony was held in the office of the President in Sheetal Niwas. Vice President Ram Sahai Prasad Yadav, Prime Minister Balendra Shah, House of Representatives Speaker Dol Prasad Aryal, Acting Chief Justice Sapana Pradhan Malla, lawmakers, chiefs of constitutional bodies and government senior officials were present on the occasion. Presidents of 4 thematic committees in the National Assembly have been elected unopposed. They were elected on the basis of political consensus. Pooja Chaudhary has been elected President of the Public Policy and Delegated Legislation Committee, Jayanti Devi Rai as President of the Federalism Enabling and National Concerns Committee, Krishna Prasad Paudel as President of the Economic Affairs and Good Governance Committee, and Krishna Bahadur Rokaya as President of the Committee for Legislation Management, according to the National Assembly Secretary Tul Bahadur Kandel. Chaudhary's candidacy was proposed by Madan Kumari Shah and seconded by Yuvraj Sharma and Rukmani Koirala. Rai's candidacy was proposed by Geljan Sherpa and supported by Durga Kumari Gurung. Similarly, Paudel's candidacy was proposed by Narayan Datta Bhatta and supported by Jagat Tamalsana, while Rokaya's candidacy was proposed by Ananda Prasad Dhungana and seconded by Geeta Devkota. The posts had been lying vacant since March 4. Lined up next are the international headliners, but for now, a quick recap of the headliners this hour. Government makes crucial appointments, slashes petroleum customs duty by 50% to provide immediate relief. Austerity measures hit civil servants' fuel quotas, senior officials and ministers exempt from benefit cuts. Lawmakers demand government action on public grievances as House tables major bills. Next session scheduled for tomorrow. Federal government orders immediate refund of illegal school fees as ministry intensifies nationwide monitoring of private institutions. US President issues dire warning of civilizational collapse as Iran faces midnight deadline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. And Real Madrid hosts Bayern Munich in blockbuster Champions League quarter-final as Arsenal travel to Sporting for first leg clash. US and Israeli strikes have reportedly hit Iran's Kharg Island, including military sites near its key oil export terminal, causing oil prices to surge above $114 a barrel amid growing fears over energy security. Further strikes targeted bridges, highways and rail infrastructure across Iran, with reported casualties and widespread transport disruptions, while Israel said it completed a broad wave of attacks on infrastructure sites. Regional tensions escalated further, with Qatar warning the conflict is nearing an uncontrollable threshold. Train services suspended in parts of Iran and explosions reported in Tehran. As the crisis deepens, the UN Security Council is set to vote on Iran's threats to the Strait of Hormuz, a vital global oil route already heavily disrupted by the ongoing conflict. Meanwhile, US Vice President J.D. Vance has said Washington has tools in their toolkit that they so far haven't decided to use on Iran. Speaking during a visit to Hungary, where he is supporting Prime Minister Viktor Orban's re-election, Vance said US President Donald Trump will decide to use them if the Iranians do not change their course of conduct.
We've got tools in our toolkit that we so far haven't decided to use. The President of the United States can decide to use them, and he will decide to use them if the Iranians don't change their course of conduct. The President has set a deadline for about 12 hours from now in the United States. We're going to find out, but there's going to be a lot of negotiation between now and then, and I'm hopeful that it gets to a good resolution.
Later, White House denied that the U.S. Vice President had suggested to make use of nuclear weapons in the conflict. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said Israel struck railways and bridges used by the Revolutionary Guards in Iran after Iranian officials reported damage to at least 2 bridges and railway infrastructure.
אתמול הטייסים שלנו השמידו מטוסי תובלה ועשרות מסוקים בבסיס של חיל האוויר של איראן. היום הם תקפו את מסילות הברזל והקשרים שמשמשים את משמרות המהפכה. אני כל הזמן אומר לכם שאנחנו קודשים את משטר הטרור באיראן. אבל אנחנו עושים זאת ביתר שאת ובעוצמה הולכת וגוברת.
Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesperson Majed Al-Ansari has meanwhile said the Middle East war is very close to a point where it cannot be controlled, as Doha urges all sides to find a resolution before the conflict spirals further.
We were trying to defuse the escalation in the region since 2023. We have been warning since 2023 that escalation left unchecked will get us into a situation where it cannot be controlled. And we are very close to that point. And this is why we have been urging all parties to find a resolution out of this, to find a way of ending this war before it spirals out of control. On the nuclear facilities, our Ministry of Environment is monitoring the situation very closely. The reporting we have had from them is saying that everything is safe up to this point, but obviously it's very dangerous when we see these kind of attacks in nuclear facilities. We have seen this happen.
Global oil prices have fluctuated ahead of a deadline set by U.S. President Donald Trump for Iran to open the crucial Strait of Hormuz shipping route. The price of global benchmark Brent crude rose above $111 a barrel in early trade on Tuesday before dropping to $109. On Monday, Trump threatened to take out Iran in one night if it failed to agree a deal with the U.S. by 8 p.m. Washington, D.C. time on Tuesday. Oil and gas shipments from the Middle East have been severely disrupted as Tehran threatens to attack vessels that try to use the strait in retaliation for US and Israeli airstrikes since 28th of February. Vietnam's Communist Party chief Tho Lam has been elected president by the National Assembly, consolidating his control over both party and state and marking a major shift towards centralized leadership in the one-party state. Since becoming party chief less than 2 years ago, the 68-year-old has sidelined rivals, cut bureaucracy, and merged provinces as part of an aggressive reform drive aimed at boosting growth. Lam is now pushing a new growth model targeting double-digit expansion by streamlining decision-making and expanding the private sector. Lawmakers unanimously approved his election, while he also elevated his ally Lam In Hung as prime minister, further strengthening his political bloc. Supporters say his reforms could accelerate development, but critics warn Vietnam is shifting from collective leadership to a strongman-style system with unprecedented concentration of power. The Artemis 2 astronauts are bound for Earth after conducting a historic lunar flyby and witnessing a total solar eclipse from their spacecraft. On Monday, the Artemis 2 crew of NASA astronauts Ryan Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, along with CSA astronaut Jeremy Hansen, set the record for the farthest distance from Earth traveled by a human mission, surpassing the Apollo 13 record of 248,655 miles set in 1970. Commander Ryan Wiseman says the Orion spacecraft crew saw sights that no human has ever seen, while pilot Victor Glover says there are no adjectives to describe what they observed. The astronauts lost connection with NASA while behind the moon. The outage was expected and lasted around 40 minutes. Business news coming up next. For now, a short breather.
India's economic outlook is facing renewed pressure as the Middle East conflict disrupts global oil markets, undermining what the Reserve Bank of India had recently described as a Goldilocks phase of high growth and low inflation. The Indian rupee has emerged as the most immediate casualty, falling to record lows and weakening nearly 10% against the US dollar over the past year. While central bank intervention has briefly stabilized the currency, analysts warn further depreciation is likely if the conflict persists. Brokerage firm Bernstein cautions the rupee could slide beyond 110 per dollar in a prolonged crisis scenario. Currency weakness is already feeding into the broader economic strain, driving up import costs, squeezing corporate margins, widening fiscal deficits, and dampening foreign investment. Benchmark equity indices have dropped around 12% this year amid sustained capital outflows. The government has flagged rising risks to both inflation and growth, citing higher logistic costs and potential declines in remittances from Indians in the Gulf. GDP growth, earlier projected at around 7% for fiscal year 2026-27, could be reduced by up to 1 percentage point. The downturn also threatens to delay India's push to overtake Japan as the world's fourth largest economy. The situation in the Middle East has so far not affected the Bank of Japan's assessment for the nation's economy. Branch managers for the central bank gave their positive view of the business environment in their latest quarterly regional economic report. The document says the economies in all 9 regions continue to pick up or recover moderately. The report notes that inflation is affecting consumer spending, but it also says that demand related to artificial intelligence remains on the rise. The worsening Iran conflict and high crude oil prices are seen as having a negative impact. The report says some businesses are adjusting their output due to uncertainty over the procurement of raw materials. South Korea has unveiled 10 policy initiatives to reduce oil dependence amid rising Middle East tensions, with a strong focus on expanding renewable energy. The government aims to triple renewable capacity to 100 gigawatts by 2030, with offshore wind playing a central role. A new specialized installation vessel will support construction of a major wind farm in Sinan, South Jeolla province. To ease local resistance, authorities are introducing an income participation model, allowing residents to invest in projects and earn returns through schemes like the solar pension and grid income, potentially benefiting up to 10 million people. The plan also targets transport and heating, with a goal of 40% of new car sales being electric or hydrogen by 2030 and wider adoption of heat pumps. Daytime electricity rates will be lowered to align demand with solar power generation as part of broader efforts to transition toward a more sustainable energy system. Pakistani authorities have destroyed around 6 hectares of opium poppy in Mohmand district, intensifying efforts to curb narcotics production along the Afghan border. The crackdown targets a high-value illegal crop that underpins a shadow ruler economy. Opium prices in the region can fetch hundreds of dollars per kilogram at the farm gate, with significantly higher returns along trafficking routes, making it far more lucrative than traditional crops such as wheat or maize. Police operations to uproot poppy fields aim to disrupt supply chains, but they also expose the economic trade-offs. Farmers say poverty and weak market access leave them reliant on opium cultivation despite legal risks. It is warned that without viable alternatives, such as subsidized crops, price support, and access to formal markets, eradication drives could deepen income shocks in already fragile communities. The move underscores the broader challenge of balancing law enforcement with rural economic stability in regions where illicit crops remain a key source of cash income.
Let's switch to sports now. The schedule for Nepal's 2 ICC World Cup League 2 series, which was previously delayed due to the Iran war, has been officially released. In the first home series, Nepal will host the UAE and Oman from April 25 to May 5th. Nepal will play its opening match against the UAE on the 25th, followed by matches against Oman on the 29th. UAE again on the 1st of May and Oman on the 5th. All matches will be played at the Tribhuvan University Cricket Ground in Kirtipur. The Nepal Cricket Association (CAN) had earlier postponed the series in February. After the UAE and Oman series, Nepal will face Scotland and the USA in the next round, scheduled from May 12 to May 22nd. Time now for the weather update, first from across Nepal and then the world. And before we wind up, here's a quick look at the top stories of the day. Government makes crucial appointments, slashes petroleum customs duty by 50% to provide immediate relief. Austerity measures hit civil servants, fuel quotas, senior officials and ministers exempt from benefit cuts. Lawmakers demand government action on public grievances. Federal government orders immediate refund of illegal school fees as ministry intensifies nationwide monitoring of private institutions. President Trump issues dire warning of civilizational collapse as Iran faces midnight deadline to reopen Strait of Hormuz. And Real Madrid hosts Bayern Munich in blockbuster Champions League quarter-final as Arsenal travel to Sporting for first leg clash. And that's it from NewsHour for today. Do join us through our social media handles, and yes, to get at the latest, do connect to us to our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Shivani Thapa. Thanks for staying with us. Good night.